Aloha and good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 10, 2026, and the time is 9:05 a.m. Will the Committee on Budget please come to order? I'd like to welcome to the committee members who are present in the chamber today. Committee Vice Chair Nishimoto, Council Members Cordero, Kia'aina, and Talba. Also joining us today, we'd like to welcome Council Members Dos Santos Tam and Tupola. Although remote oral testimony is being permitted, this is a regular in-person meeting and not a remote meeting by interactive conference technology under HRS Section 92-3.7. Therefore, this meeting will continue notwithstanding loss of audiovisual communication with remote testifiers or loss of the public broadcast of this meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in two ways: in person in the council chamber and remotely via video conference or phone. Remote and in-person oral testimony will be allowed when each agenda item is taken up. Before testifying, each person shall state their name. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. As both English and Hawaiian are official languages of the state of Hawaii, pursuant to Article 15, Section 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution and Section 1-13 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, members of the public may testify in either language. For oral testimonies offered in Olelo, Hawaii, additional time, as may be necessary, will be allowed for the testifier to provide an English translation of their testimony. All persons who have registered to testify in person will be called upon first. When your name is called, please come up to the testifier podium. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to testify following the registered testifiers. After in-person testimony has concluded, I will proceed to remote testimony via video conference or phone. When I call your name, please monitor your screen and follow the prompt to unmute. For those who are joining us by telephone only, please press *9 if you wish to testify, and I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, please listen for the prompt to unmute and press *6. Some friendly reminders and tips: video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceedings on Olelo, please mute your television at the time you are called to testify. When the timer on screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off or silence all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. Members, as a reminder, if you have any supplementary questions for the departments that may come up during or after the meeting, please provide them to my office so we may compile them for the department or managing director's office to respond. We look forward to all of your questions. Members, I plan to take a break for lunch again today. The start time and duration will be dependent on the flow of the meeting. Agenda item number 1, informational briefing, executive capital and operating budget review. We'll proceed first with testimony. Clerks, do we have any testifiers for this item?
Yes, Chair, we have one standing by online.
Okay, we'd like to welcome online Angela Young.
Testifier is not logged on, Chair.
Okay, I'd like to welcome online Raquel Achu. I saw her in here. Oh, she's there. Okay. Good morning, Raquel.
Aloha, good morning. Apologize, I meant to be there early this morning, but storm prepping, so I appreciate the consideration. I'm just wanting to provide support for a budget submitted for ocean safety. Sorry, I didn't identify Raquel Achu, Wailoa Moku. I am a sitting commissioner on Ocean Safety Commission, but I'm testifying as an individual. I'm very confident in what Ocean Safety Chief Logger has provided and his team. I believe as a newly implemented department, we do have some challenges ahead just based on being able to grow and set everything in place. I take great comfort and confidence in what they've provided and support their measures at every angle. So I appreciate the time. Mahalo.
Thank you, Raquel. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Okay. Clerks, do we have any other, are there any other testifiers either virtual or here in person, who would like to testify at this time?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Seeing no further testimony, we'll now proceed on with the Executive Capital and Operating Budget Review. First department is the Emergency Services Department. For your information, the presentation is available online as Departmental Communication 173-2026. And joining us today, we have from the department, Director Jim Ireland.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. James Ireland, Director, Honolulu Emergency Services Department. EMS, Health Services Core, takes care of people. But what the people I have here with me today is our team that helps take care of the people who do the difficult work in our department. With me is our Deputy Director, Ian Santee, and from our administrative team, Leanne, Sam, CJ, Carla's our branch chief at Health Services, Dr. Kovan's our medical director, Shane Enright's our PIO. Then our administrative chiefs, we have Corey Chalk, Jeff Zuckernick, Kenny Faria, Kathy Higa, and Isaac Tejeda. So this is the group that really is here to support all the hardworking men and women of core EMS and health services. Okay, we can go to the first slide. I'm going to move over here so I can see. The budget highlights for, actually I'm going to look at my notes because I can't see up there. For 2027, in administration, we have a 53% increase, emergency medical services a 0.6% increase, and the health services branch a 35% increase. And later in the presentation, I'll go into more detail on why those numbers are what they are. Next slide. We have, in the last year or two, opened city and state-funded medical respites. These are facilities for the homeless who are too sick for traditional homeless shelters, but not sick enough for hospitals. We're talking about people who've had strokes, heart failure, dialysis, severe mental illness, and these have been traditionally funded by the state, one at A'ala Respite, one at Liahi, and one in Iwilei called H4. To make up for some shortfalls in state funding, we put in $3.4 million in our budget to help cover one of those medical respites in order to keep that open. And then we're also maintaining and opening an additional 12-hour EMS unit. Next slide. The department budget overview for admin, there's an increase in $4 million. And admin not only covers the administration of the department, but also all of specialized community medicine and core. EMS, there's a $278,000 increase. The health services branch, approximately $500,000 increase, for a total change in budget of $4.8 million. Next slide. Activity breakdown. EMS has 77% of our budget. Administration is 20%, which again includes core and specialized community medicine. And then the health services branch is 3%. By category, 73% is salaries, 24% current expenses, and 3% equipment. Now, specifically in administration, there's a $652,000 change in salaries, approximately $3.4 million change in current expense, and again, that is primarily due to partially funding one of our medical respites, and essentially less money set aside for equipment in administration. For emergency medical services, there's approximately $1 million change in salaries, approximately $1 million change in current expense, and a $1.6 million decrease in equipment, for a total increase of $278,000 approximately. In the health services branch, there's a $100,000 approximately increase in salary. There's approximately $420,000 increase in current expenses. And this is primarily, not exclusively, but primarily due to rent we need to pay for a modern health services medical facility that has been funded the past few budget cycles with federal ARPA funding, and then no change in equipment funding. So a total increase in health services of about $500,000. Next slide. At the snapshot, we had 34 vacant positions as compared to, I believe, 40 last year. So looking at those 34 vacancies, we currently have 12 students in contract positions in our Waianae EMS Academy. We have 8 new hire employees in contract position for a total of 20 employees. And then we just finished interviews and are hiring 14 new EMTs. So that actually comes out to all 34 vacancies. We know, though, that people retire and leave the department, but we also have a planned second academy for this year in July with approximately 20 students. So we believe the majority of those vacancies will be filled in the 2026 calendar year. The next slide. This is overtime and holiday overtime. For administration, we have $60,000 budgeted. For holiday overtime, $100,000 for regular overtime. And primarily that's, again, because core is in administration. When you have the core teams out doing work at night or in the evenings, or like for the next few days, they're going to be working because of the storm to help get people sheltered. That's primarily to cover core overtime. In emergency medical services, $6.2 million, and in the health services branch, $23,000, $569. And health services does DUI, blood draws, and testing, so some of that is towards that because that's often not during regular business hours, for a total overtime budget of $6.3 million. Revenue sources, we get $3.5 million from the state annually, and that stems from an agreement we made with them to get money that is charged to people's vehicle registration. That was, I believe, it's a $5 charge, but when we took over EMS from the state, we felt that cars on Oahu, that money should be kept on Oahu, so that's where that comes from. This revenue from billing, we had to estimate this back in August of last year, and we estimated $42 million for FY26. That number is going to actually be closer to, it's going to be higher. It's going to be, with the 3.5, our total collections for FY26 are closer to 49 million. So we estimate our total collections actually for 27. Again, that 44 million came from an estimate back in August when we were preparing our budget. But that number, plus the 3.5, should be in excess of $50 million in revenues. Then we have some other miscellaneous charges for when we release records, and that was $14,000. Next slide. Our CIP projects, the HESD administration and Kalihi Station, $6.6 million, and that's for a EMS headquarters, so we can get out of the airport where we're paying $750,000 a year in rent. We also have a planned facilities improvement in our budget for that Kalihi EMS headquarters. We also have some extra money budgeted for the Kahuku ambulance facility, which has already been awarded in the event that we, just as a contingency, if we need extra funding for that. And then it's the same thing with the Waipio ambulance training facility. We have some contingency monies already budgeted on top of what has already been allocated in the event that there's some unforeseen costs. So the major, again, just to review, the major facilities for us is the EMS headquarters in Kalihi, the Kahuku ambulance renovation, and the Waipio training facility for EMS. So that concludes this part of the presentation. I'm available, or team's available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Island. We'll start off today's round of questions with Committee Vice Chair Nishimoto.
Thank you. Good morning. Just have a couple of questions regarding the CIP. So
Yes.
The 6.6 for the Kalihi station, that's the blood bank property, correct?
Yes.
And I think we put in 5.4 million in 24. So that's about 11 million. Is that to acquire the property?
My understanding is that that previous funding was with DLM, and that money lapsed. And so I just defer to them to explain how that happened, and this is the remedy.
Okay, so the 5.4 was not spent.
Correct.
Okay, so the 6.6 is the remedy, and that's all you need to acquire the property?
Yes.
Okay. And then you also have $150,000 in the budget to provide 24/7 security for that property. Why is that needed?
The area and to just protect it as a asset for the city, in part because it's an administration area, so we will be there during city hours. It will become at least home for one ambulance, possibly two in the future. Once there's 24-hour ambulance operations there, we may not need that security, but we put that in there to protect the property in the transition that we haven't moved in yet, for sure. But ongoing, we may not need that.
So or I guess we've bought the property already?
No, we have not.
Okay, so the 6.6, if appropriated, would buy the property, and then once you acquire the property, you need the 24-hour security there.
Correct. And our lease, my understanding at the airport, runs out at the end of this calendar year. And so the plan is to move in there throughout the summer and fall. And we don't know what the new lease will be at the airport. It could be in excess of $800,000. What's interesting is when I joined the city as an EMT and EMS in 95, we were at that airport facility. So we've rented that airport facility for over 30 years. And it's just a way, I think, of, number one, getting out of that high rent and having a permanent place for us. At the airport right now, we're on 3 different floors and all spread out, and this puts us all in one building. It's much more efficient, and we'll hopefully be able to also have 2 ambulances housed there. Okay.
You have $155,000 budgeted for repairs. What exactly is that?
It's an older building, not a super old building, but it's an older building. There may be some remediation for, I think there's maybe some asbestos tiles in there. There's an underground fuel tank and this, elevator maintenance and that sort of thing that we want to make it up to standard. We're actually planning to do a renovation and a redesign and make it more conducive to, not storing blood and giving blood, but an actual administration building. We've been meeting with the architecture team from UH, and we have a really good, I think, plan and layout. It's going to really suit our needs. There's a future rail station for Skyline, like a block away, I believe. So it's really going to be good for us, but it's going to need a little work before it's move-in ready.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Nishimoto. I wanted to recognize joining us in the chamber, Chair Waters. And before I turn it over to Chair for next line of questions, just to follow up on what Vice Chair Nishimoto mentioned with the building, that Kalihi property, that wasn't condemned. You said that we're in the process of purchasing it?
So I know there was an issue in the past with an easement that Skyline needed for a portion of the property, but it's not going to affect EMS, HESD purchasing the property or moving in. So I don't think it was condemned, but I think there was some, in the past, discussions between the owners of the blood bank and Heart where that easement was going to be and how it would affect the blood bank operations. But for us in EMS, to put 2 ambulances there and to move in there as our headquarters, it won't affect us.
Okay, so just to be clear, you're saying that the portion that had the issue with the easement for Skyline, that's the part that possibly was condemned, but not the portion that you're purchasing with the 4.5, now 6.6 million? Is that what I understand?
Correct, and I don't know if anything was condemned, but I do know that part of the roadway and the walkway near the blood bank was needed for Skyline.
Okay, thank you. Chair Waters, you're next in line. Did you want me to come back to you or you're ready? Okay, thank you.
No, thank you so much. Good morning, Dr. Island. Hey, just generally, it looks like your budget is up $1.7 million. Is that correct?
Let me look. I'm going to check my slides.
Or is that just salaries? Salaries is up 1.7.
Right. Well, yes, and we are opening an additional ambulance that was not funded in last year's budget. And the other issue, we did put $1.6 million in the budget. It's on page 10,
Okay.
item code 1118, $1.67 million to fund the EMS differential. And so what we did this year is our paramedics, EMTs, and dispatchers don't have step changes in their salary like the other first responders do. So we wanted to give them that. They deserve it, and it's for longevity and retention. And so we did do a EMS differential that increased everyone's salary in EMS, the paramedics, dispatchers, and EMTs that are on the alternate work schedule. But that's where that 1.6 million is for that.
Okay, and much deserved, I'd say. But it looks like also for equipment, you're down 1.7, 45% down. You took a $1.7 million cut in equipment?
So one of the things we've done over the last 4 years, we've been very, very aggressive in purchasing ambulances and doing the remounts, where we take an essentially good ambulance box and put it on a brand new chassis. And we've done so well in the last 3 or 4 years, we didn't need to order as many ambulances this year. So for instance, as we sit here today, we have 22 ambulances in our fleet that are under 1 year old. And we're getting 10 more remounts back this year, which will bring us up to 32 ambulances under 2 years old. And our frontline fleet is right now 24 ambulances, and it will go up to 26 ambulances by this summer. So with 32 ambulances, we have more than enough to cover the frontline ambulances and some backup ambulances. So in this budget here, we're only requesting funding for 7 remounts to just keep that fleet modernized, but we don't need to order like we've done in previous years, 6 brand new plus 10 remounts. We're not ordering any brand new ambulances this year proposed in this budget. So I think we're just trying to get what we need, but not be get in excess of what we need just to maintain the budget, I guess is the best way to put that.
And then are you also down 11 FTEs? Is that accurate?
You're going to have to point me to that because I don't think we are, but.
No, okay, no, just checking. And then as far as lapsed funds are concerned, my records indicate that you lapsed about 1.7 last fiscal year, FY 2025.
Yeah, I think it was less than $1 million when all was said and done, but I can get back to you on the exact amount.
Okay, and well, general fund wise, looks like you guys did pretty good. You only lapsed $100,000, but federal grants funds, it was about 1.6.
I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that. I know we did have some HUD funding and some federal grant funding it's a 5-year grant, so I'm not sure. Some of that is still in process, but I'll meet with you after to find out exactly what you're concerned with and get back to you on that.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Waters. I'd like to welcome to the chamber, joining us, Councilmember Wire. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair Okimoto. Hi, Director and Dr. Ireland. Thank you very much for your presentation and update. I do want to also start off with equipment because I do note that along with the Kalihi unit that you're shoring up, as well as stated in the budget book, you have the Ko'olina unit where you also purchased equipment and have 6 new positions. So it is interesting and actually maybe a success that you are 44.9% down with your emergency medical services for equipment there. And so you actually basically answered about how you were able to utilize the older boxes and put it on the new chassis. I can't say the word, but how about other types of equipment, that has a certain lifespan? Are you bulk purchasing that and then being able to distribute it to the new units? I'm really grateful that we're moving the airport/Kalihi units to, in the future, closer to centralized areas, but I was just wondering about how we are able to keep up with the lifespan of equipment. And I've been actually asking other departments this as well.
Thank you, Council Member. The other big item we use, obviously, is in vehicles is SUVs. They're for our supervisors and for our rapid response units. In last year's budget, we did have a council out of 4 SUVs, and those are in procurement right now. Those 4 SUVs will be going to each of our 4 district chiefs. The SUVs they're currently using, which are about 5 years old, will then go to be used as rapid response units or as backup units. I believe we're also procuring right now a 15-passenger van for our training staff to take the recruits to different training activities. So I think we're good, but we're also very aware of the need to maintain other vehicles and equipment to make sure we're ready.
Okay, awesome. And then also within the vehicles, there are those different contraptions, right? Like even stretchers and everything that is needed to transport people that are being serviced and picked up by the ambulatory services. Is that correct? So is that included in a bulk fund of equipment?
Right, and so we were also very fortunate on the core side. We have 3 ambulances in core right now, 4 ambulances in core. 2 are about a year old. One was passed over from EMS, and those are 3 Mercedes vans. We also have a larger, I believe an F450 chassis that was passed over from EMS. So they have 4 ambulances now. They also have a wheelchair van at core, so they can use that van to transport people who don't need an ambulance. And then they have a number of SUVs, both brand new and past hand-me-downs, if you will, from EMS. And then the other types of vehicles we have is we do have an ambulance bus that's about 2 years old now, and a command truck that's older, but those are also vehicles we would use in a mass casualty incident or to move large number of people. And with, like, for instance, the rain that's coming up in the next few days, if we have to evacuate people, if we have to move people, we would use the ambulance bus.
And you only have 1 ambulance bus. Is that correct, Director or Doctor?
We have a new, like 2 years old, ambulance bus that can hold 18 passengers lying flat. And then we have an ex-city bus that was our ambulance bus that's currently, we call it the core bus. It's been repurposed for core, for evacuations and transport, but that core bus is not licensed as an ambulance. It's more of just a people transporter.
Okay, I understand. And speaking of core, and I'm sorry if I don't remember when this changed. It used to be under Emergency Medical Services branch, right? Was it ever under that? Or was it always under administration?
We put, it's part of specialized community medicine, still in administration, but our plan in the next 6 to 12 months is to undergo a reorganization so we can separate out core from community medicine and EMS. Ultimately, I think where we're headed is to be EMS as a department, emergency medical services, similar to ocean safety down the road. But so I believe core eventually will be its own branch or division, but for now it's part of administration.
I see. And with that vision of making emergency medical services a department, would that allow for core to still be a focus of, I guess, the emergency services department, like separately?
Right. So it would be a piece of emergency medical services focusing on people in crisis, homeless, people with mental health issues who may or may not be homeless. Mm-hmm. And they're called different things in different jurisdictions. So in the mainland, sometimes they just call it the rapid response team or the crisis team. But we want to more fully integrate them with EMS within the emergency medical services department.
Okay, thank you. I do have a question about your contract services or just contracts in general. I know you mentioned H4. Does that contract services or not consultant, yeah, but contract services and funding come from your department's budget, or will that be coming from DCS?
So to answer your question, medical services under the charter apparently need to come through our department as the medical department versus DCS, which has the most expertise with this. So what we have been doing is money that comes in from the state to fund these types of activities. We've been collaborating very closely with the DCS to manage the funding and manage these contracts. Historically, this has all been state funded, right, but absolutely necessary. And then the other part of this that involves the city is these medical respites, the Ala Medical Respite is in a city-owned building. The H4, Punawai Rest Stop, that building is city-owned. The Liahi Respite is in obviously a state-owned facility, but we have a city respite there. And in this budget, we're proposing potentially funding part of that with city funds.
Okay, I understand. But prior, it didn't come from your budget, right? It would normally filter through, was it DCF?
I think it came through us through federal money, right? Yeah, federal funding.
Okay, I stand corrected.
But as
Thank
that
you.
has become harder to get, we're asking the state actually to come more from the state. And ultimately, that also may come from federal funding. But we do still have in our coffers, I believe, about a $9 million congressionally directed funding to do medical respite. And we're using about half of that to renovate a large space at Liahi Hospital for medical respite. But the other half, we're still looking to purchase something in the community for medical respite.
Okay, thank you. And for clarification, is it $750,000 a year for the airport or a month?
A year.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's approximate, but we haven't seen what would be a new lease, so I'm sure it's going to be higher.
Okay, thank you. I just had a question mark there. Thank you very much for your clarification, and thank you, Chair Okimoto.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Councilmember Tupola.
Hi, aloha, Dr. Arlen. Aloha, EMS family. Thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for introducing them. I thank Councilmember Cordero for her thoughtful questions about CORE. I'm going to follow up with a few of those. In September, the audit will be completed, and I wanted to know if we could work together on I hear what you're saying about kind of adjustments that you're making, and I actually like a lot of the ideas that you shared with me when we met. So I think as we thoughtfully move forward, I'm hoping that the audit will give us some guidance on that. And I wanted to just ask if we could work together on how that might be implemented in conjunction with some of the suggestions you have about maybe commission and expansion. What are your thoughts?
Well, we look forward to the audit's findings as well. The landscape of CORE is changing, primarily because Act 219 of the last legislative session through the DOH gives us now the power to do what's called the MH3, which is the involuntary hold for people who are a danger to themselves and others. And that's changed the way CORE approaches folks who are a danger to themselves or others. So that tool has helped us really get to a lot of people who are resistant because of mental illness or substance abuse to getting help. We know essentially each council district has a unique set of issues with respect to the homeless and houseless population and unique solutions. And so we actually look forward to finding and partnering with all those different areas in those unique solutions, because as you know, what might work for downtown doesn't necessarily work for other parts of the island. So that's with respect to CORE. With respect to our vision, we, the last 2 years, really focused on ocean safety, becoming a department. There's always some short-term hurdles because of reorganization and culture and getting used to being your own department. But I really feel when we look fast forward 5 or 10 years, it'll be the best decision we ever made for them. And so I see the same and want the same for emergency medical services, where we maybe have a chief of EMS instead of a director. The current chief of EMS position, perhaps reallocate that to an assistant chief position to make a structure similar to fire, police, and EMS. And although the administration has taken no position on this, we should at least discuss an EMS
commission.
An EMS commission, yes. Because really, if the direction of the other first responder agencies is to stay with commissions, then in EMS should be the same. If it's not, then we can re-talk about that. But that's something I think over the next 2 years, we should talk about for sure.
Perfect. I'll come back to that. A last question about CORE. In the administration, you have 30 FTE. How many of those are members of CORE? I know some are admin positions and some are CORE. What is your current count?
CORE right now has, I believe, 32 people, and we're onboarding 2 or 3 more, so right around 35 people. Our long-term goal, as we find out what the right size for CORE is to slowly, over the next 2 to 3 years, convert what we consider essential to civil service, because we want people to stay in CORE. They're passionate. They're really good at what they do, but it's not realistic or fair to just perpetually keep them in a contracted position. So we would slowly like to convert some or all of those to civil service when we find out what the right size for core is, whether it's 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, what have you. We essentially want to eventually convert all those.
So on your admin, you have 48 contract FTEs, so 35 of the 48 are core?
Currently, yes, but we also have, I think, 44 approved for core, but we have 35 filled.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. And I do want to say possibly, you know, some of this additions, or as I look at your budget, is really you guys really filling the shoes of taking over the state side and kind of really doing the services that we're supposed to be doing to service the community. So I thank you for that. I'm still silently celebrating our Ko'olina Emergency Services unit, and I'm looking forward to new ones for all of the areas that you mentioned. On the page outlining revenue from billing, it says 44 million. I'm pretty sure all of us met with Digitech and maybe EMS MC. I've met with both of them. I've taken copious notes about what they said. Some of them said we should be billing more around 51 million. I don't know what we should be billing at. I know things are getting better. They showed over the years after we took over from the state that we kind of like caught our footing. What are your thoughts on where our billing should be?
Well, actual billing for this upcoming budget year is in addition to the 3.5 million that we get from the state, will be in excess of 50 million.
Okay.
So that's one thing. There are a few other avenues that could enhance revenue. One would be to initiate a treat, no transport. The administrative rules at the DOH sunsetted on that funding structure. So we can no longer use that funding structure. So we would need to come through council if we wanted to propose a fee for treat, no transport. And that would be, for instance, if someone got in a car accident, we maybe gave them some bandages, we put their arm in a sling, but they did not go to the hospital. Right now, those services are for free. Under treat, no transport, they would get a bill for that. The other avenue is funding, as you folks know from previous interactions with the consultant that came to town, is if the state change the way they collect for rural Medicaid, is perhaps more money could come into the city general fund for that. So there are a few other ways we could perhaps generate an additional, conservatively $3 million, and on the high end, maybe $9 million a year. But I'm always concerned too that the people who get the ambulance bill have the ability to pay, and I never want anyone to miss feeding their children or paying rent because of a high ambulance bill. So it's important to me, as we've talked about this, as we've moved forward, that we always have an avenue for forgiveness for local residents who may have trouble paying their bill. And we have had some of those cases, and we work on them on a case-by-case basis. But that's my only concern about billing for other things that we don't traditionally bill for, or increasing the actual charge, because we follow the state guidelines and rate, but it does increase under administrative rule by up to 10% a year by the Director of Health, and we follow that. But if we were to deviate from that, we would need to come to council.
Yeah, no, thank you for the specificity in that. Definitely, we don't want to overcharge people. I think when both of the companies met with me, particularly, they were trying to make an emphasis on possible lost opportunity, but I do understand what you're saying and how you guys are going to proceed forward. Lastly, for the health services, you guys have 13.25 permanent and then 3 contract. Specifically, what does the health services branch do in short?
So they are basically an occupational health clinic. They're physically at the St. Francis Laliha building. Oh. They do all the new employment physicals. They do all the ongoing physicals for people who operate large trucks for their CDL driver's license, all the first responders, police, fire, and EMS, ocean safety, who need periodic physicals to maintain their readiness. Health Services does all their physicals. We monitor city drug testing. And then they also do all the DUI testing for the entire state for people who are accused of being impaired drivers. Our health services will work with HPD to go do the blood draw and then testify in court as to those findings, as well as doing the actual testing.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And thanks for all that you guys do. Thanks for being here. Aloha, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Tupola. Floor Leader Kia Aina.
Thank you, Director. I know we've had this conversation, but I just want to get some clarity with regard to the funds that I put in the last fiscal year with regard to Maunawili substation. I believe it was a little over $700,000. While I do understand that the effort to locate to HPU fell through, and I'm sad to hear that because I thought there was a lot of opportunity there. I wanted to know if there were, what's going to happen with those funds. Are there alternative areas that you could utilize? Because this was not for structure, it was for employees. Do you foresee any opportunities before the ending of the year so those funds don't lapse?
Thank you, Councilmember, for that question. We did have Kaimaki ambulance in our budget last year, the mayor's budget, and then we did get 3 council-added ambulances. It's my understanding at this time the Ko'olina funds have been or are being released, so we will be able to open up the Ko'olina ambulance. The ambulances for Maunawili and Waikane, those council adds have not been released yet by the administration. So partially it depends on those funds getting released for this year, and partially on staffing and having the number of people to open them. With respect to where we would go, you are correct that the state and the city apparently are no longer interested in purchasing the previous HPU campus. But if we were to put an ambulance in that area, I think about 14 years ago, we had the same dilemma in Eva Beach, and we had an empty pro shop at one of the golf courses. That's a city-owned golf course, and the ambulance has been in the pro shop for 14 years. In Eva Beach, it's served that community. It's a 24-hour station now. It's fantastic. So those types of creative solutions could potentially also be used in that area, in that right across from the HPU campus is a city golf course.
Yes, and have you gone to the Pali Golf Course to look at the conditions of the structures there and maybe been in dialogue with the director or deputy director for enterprise services?
Members of my team have. I haven't personally. Right now it's used as an occasional conference room. I've had some superficial conversations with the director of enterprise services about this, and we're just kind of leaving it at that for now, but we have had some superficial conversations.
Okay, so I just want to encourage a further exploration because I do know that all of the island needs more substations, but all I would say is location, location, location. And Maunawili would help to not just strengthen your capacity for the windward side, but right there by Pali, be able to back up Honolulu.
Correct, thank you.
Yes, and my second question has to do with just big pictures. You know, it's when we talk about housing at all income levels, both affordable and housing in general, we always forget about housing for our homeless community with regard to increasing the number of beds. And in my discussion with the Department of Community Services, operation seems to be a challenge. In other words, even if we were to get the beds, it would be hard because then you would need the operational costs. So can I get your take on what seems to be the impediment? Because part of the reasons you are getting people who don't want to leave the streets is because they don't have any place to go. And so I'm just wondering, what do you believe is our major impediment and how can we improve that?
Thank you for that question. Complex, and I know we don't have a lot of time here to discuss this, but what I will say is the governor's plan to open more kauhale serves one role. And that serves a role more for people who maybe have financial challenges to getting in permanent housing or apartment or subsidized housing. But for us in core on the streets, and not that even living in kauhale is all that great. I mean, it's great, it's way better than the streets, but it's not an apartment, it's not a house, but it's definitely better than, in the park or completely just on the sidewalk. But what I feel is the biggest issue right now is we don't have enough beds for people with significant mental illness. They need 1 to 3 months in an observed setting, treatment setting, to get their mental illness stabilized through medication. A lot of them have PTSD and trauma from being on the streets. We're finding people with head injuries and traumatic brain injuries from being assaulted on the streets or just falling down because they're impaired. So the core team now with the MH3 as a tool to help those who are a danger to themselves are able to get those folks off the streets for an involuntary transport for an emergency evaluation. About a third of, we've done over 30 MH3s now since we started this pilot in late December, and about a third of those are permanently off the streets now, so about 11 out of 30, which is encouraging. But to continue to have success with helping those with significant danger to themselves or others, we're going to need more space, more mental health beds. And so the state hospital is over capacity, so that right now is not an issue. But we have other facilities on this island, such as Kahimohala. It's owned by Queens Medical Center. They're not at capacity. So, one of the discussions is how can the city or state partner with a private entity like Queens to use existing safe facilities for people with mental illness rather than having to spend $10 or $20 million to build something from the ground up, or potentially sending people to facilities on the mainland, which would be tough for local people who have ties here, and there's a cost with that. But to answer your question, it's the severely mentally ill that I think we need to work on.
Good point. So in that vein, then do you have sufficient funding for your MH3 program? And then second, I guess, getting down to the, you can't just take them, you have to take them somewhere. And I guess I encourage you to figure out an overall strategy with the state and the big players in health to figure that out, so that we could also put funding in places where we would have actual beds for you to go to.
Appreciate that, council member. And right now, about half of our MH3 patients have gone to the Behavioral Health Crisis Center. Roughly, the other half have gone roughly to either Castle or Queens. CORE is now getting very good at identifying people who are a danger to themselves or others. We work in close partnership with HPD as well as the Sheriff's Department. They have specially assigned officers, specially trained officers that work with us. It's a really good program. We have enough funding to get to that first tier. But to your point, where they go from Castle, Queens, and BHCC is the biggest issue we need to tackle right now.
Yes, and I did want to bring up bus stops, and thank you for your kokoa in Kailua, but it's happening all over Oahu. But this is kind of related in that our bus stops for everyday riders who are trying to get to work are being overtaken by many of the individuals that would be that would fall under your MH3 program. And I think it's becoming a increasing problem. It needs to be part of a strategy because they're impacting everyday citizens who are just trying to get to work or get to their appointments. And we need to provide a safe place for those riders. Yeah?
I agree. And people deserve to feel safe in their communities, at their parks, at their beaches, at their bus stops. And one of the instructions, if you will, I've given to CORE is if you see someone at a bus stop who looks like they're in crisis, who's living at the bus stop, stop and have a talk with them. A lot of those folks will go and leave the bus stop voluntarily when we offer them the different services that we, for instance, HONU or one of the medical respites. But if they are a danger to themselves or others, then we can use the tool of the MH3, yes. And then we have to take them to either Queens, Castle, another designated facility such as a Behavioral Health Crisis Center. And then what we're doing is we're contacting DFM afterwards to go in and kind of power wash the bus, because we know that people sometimes are also using the bus stops for their, rubbish and their, they go to the bathroom there too. And so we try to power wash it. DFM's been a good partner with that, but we're specifically looking for people in crisis at bus stops, to your point.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for you guys' good work.
Thank you, Frederica Aina. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate some of the comments about where people go after the hospital. Later today, we're going to be hearing from DHLM, and I think we'll have an opportunity to talk about transitional housing and some of the opportunities for things like single room occupancy. I'll also mention CORE has been transformational for Chinatown, downtown, and Evil A. And I hope that we'll have the opportunity to expand that to other neighborhoods because they also deserve that sort of transformation to get some of these folks off the street. I just have one question that's unrelated to those two, and that is regarding the blood bank facility. Will EMS be occupying the entirety of the building, or will there be remaining sort of empty office space?
Thank you for that question. EMS administration will be occupying the entirety of the operation, the building, with the exception we're going to do a carve out of the building for 1 or 2 ambulances. And so the Kalihi ambulance will be based there. The Salt Lake ambulance may be based there. So to answer your question, yes, we're taking the whole building, but part of that might be for operational ambulances, not just administration.
And then what happens to your existing administrative spaces? Do we have a plan for that?
Well, everything at the airport that we rent is going to just get turned back over to the landlord, and I'm sure Hawaiian wants more space. So, and what's interesting is when I interviewed at EMS in the 90s, fire department headquarters was in that building too. But look what they got.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DeSantis-Tam. Councilmember Wire.
Mahalo, Chair, and mahalo, Dr. Ireland, and to your entire team. And really appreciate your work to lean into, I know, a tight budget year, but still provide, expanded and meaningful services to the community. Wanted to kind of continue the conversation with CORE, because I do think there's a lot of opportunities there. First, could you just kind of more broadly walk through the data? I know you said 30 MH3s, maybe stepping back in terms of general numbers of folks engaged with, generally where they end up, particularly geographically around Oahu. I know you're mentioning we need more bed space, so I think that's part of the conversation, but just kind of curious because I know the community is always asking that. And then, of course, kind of what the pathway in terms of the number of bed spaces and if you have insight into where those should be. I think that's welcome as well.
Sure. Thank you, Council Member, for that question. Historically, prior to the MH3 tool, CORE would engage 20, 30 people a day, and 2 or 3 would take them up on their offer for shelter. A lot of times that was IHS, sometimes it was HONU, which was great for the people who took us up on that. But walk-in shelters can't necessarily take people who have large wounds, who have untreated mental illness, who have significant disabilities such as previous strokes, they have dialysis catheters, and so that was a challenge, and that's why we opened up the medical respites to take those people with those significant medical issues. And so CORE now can take people to places like HONU, the medical respites. So that's working. My understanding is we're talking about opening up a second HONU, perhaps in Waipahu, is where I think CORE, it would best suit CORE. And so that's a great avenue for people who are essentially able-bodied, maybe down on their luck, maybe they're just here kind of new and we need to maybe get them a ticket. There's a guy I'm interacting with in Chinatown right now. He's an alcoholic. And every time I see him, he's like, please just get me a ticket to Seattle. So he's from Seattle and he's homeless. He's on, Bethel and hotel. And we're going to work through a system we have in place through IHS to get him a ticket back to Seattle because that's what he wants to do. And that program works for hundreds of people. But we do need more, in my opinion, more medical respite space. We do need the second HONU in Waipahu. But once again, CORE gets people to these first-tier places, especially with the MH3 process. That's where we need, I think, secondary places to go for those with mental health illness or substance abuse that maybe can't quite go to the medical respites or HONU because they need a little more supervision, medication, that sort of thing. And the people that we're helping through the MH3 process are, in most cases, severely mentally ill, high on methamphetamine, And most mental illness is through no fault of the person. It's whether it's environmental or genetic or something they were exposed to. They don't necessarily choose to have mental illness. And with treatment, they can be stabilized. They can no longer be a danger to themselves or others. One of the things I think in one of our meetings, I was talking to some of the council members, we've had a significant number of traffic fatalities in the last year. It's been well publicized. Some of those are auto versus pedestrians, people walking in the roadways. And we've had at least a handful of those, Nimitz Highway, Kahakili Highway, other places where it's homeless people who have mental illness that don't even realize they're walking down the middle of the highway at 3 in the morning and they get hit by a car, they get killed, often the driver of the car gets injured. And so these folks, we really need to get help off the streets with dignity, with compassion. The MH3 process right now, again, I think I mentioned we have a HPD team that works with us, dedicated officers, outstanding officers. One day a week, we also have sheriffs that work with us. But the presence of CORE and law enforcement to help these people get off the streets has been really key. 80% of the people, even though it's a detainment, it's a legal detainment, they just voluntarily climb into the ambulance and say, okay, I'll go. So this is done with compassion. It's not done where we're wrestling people to the ground or anything like that, but it will change the way we approach homelessness in the future. But to everyone's point who's mentioned this, we do need that next tier of places to go that's really beyond CORE and beyond our department.
Okay, and that's in right now, that's Leahi, Kakako, Kaimohala Zeva, that Kaimohala, or?
The respites is Aala. There's a 62 beds.
Yeah.
Leahi and what's called H4, which is in the Ivale rest stop building. Those are the 3 medical respites. In total, there's over 100 beds.
Yeah.
You know, we've got one guy that we found, he's used EMS 280 times. So getting him off the streets into, whether it's behavioral health crisis center or medical respite, we've short-circuited all those calls that are burdening the 911 system when he just really needs to have a higher level of care. The other thing is CORE has been central in Ivale. We're proud of what we've done in Chinatown. We're not done yet, but we want to export that to other communities. And we are going to be basing at least 1 ambulance and an SUV in Wahiawa in the next month or 2 to help the North Shore, West Side, Waipahu. And we'll probably do more satellites in the future. And CORE's mobile, we go all over the island, but for our employees that live in the North Shore or the Mililani area and to help service that community, we do want to expand CORE. But the team right now is right-sized, and we have enough positions and we have enough funding. So we're in a good spot with CORE. Thank you.
No, I appreciate that because I think, you know, we all see and understand economically homeless individuals or families are easy to rehouse if we have the units. But of course, folks with, you know, underlying issues, whether it's medical or other substance abuse, mental health diagnosis issues. I think all of our communities in district, and I think it's probably similar across the island, you know, have a group of community members that are struggling with that and, you know, are oftentimes going to relocate back to their home community near family members, but of course, because of their underlying issues, are homeless. And so that's kind of why I bring up the geographic question. And just to wrap up, I understand, you know, the budget limitations and appreciate your work moving through it, but just wanted to kind of talk through 2 things. And so welcome your input on, you know, I know there's also, in addition to the ambulance staffing, the funding and the CIP for Kolapoko rather expansion. So one, whether the Coral Kingdom location is still available or on the market or still a part of the conversation. In addition to that, whether there's potential to assess the back of that property for some type of transitional or respite opportunities, because, you know, there's those additional structures behind the main front one. And then from there, well, I'll let you dive into that first. Like, are there any updates on that at all?
That opportunity would be amazing for a resilience center, for an outreach center, for an EMS hub, I don't know about a core hub, but a place anyway to launch out of. Coral Kingdom, it's already built. You know, we wouldn't have to build anything. We wouldn't have to HESD does have 30 acres off Waikane Valley Road. Not ideal really for a station, I think, at this point. We've looked into that. But we would like to be on that coast. There's no ambulance right now between Kaneohe and Kahuku. And so our long-term goal, our strategic plan, which I shared with all you, is to have an ambulance in that community and potentially 2 ambulances, one in Hauula, one in the Waikane area before 2030. We also have Pupukea on our radar as needing an ambulance, especially if we get a first-class first responder center there, which is, I believe, in the works. With respect to, there are, again, on that coast, homeless individuals, not in the same density as maybe other parts on the island. We are going to be doing some work in Kahuku in the next 2 weeks with people out there and trying to help them find other places to live. We also get reports, for instance, like in the Velziland area of folks out there. So we are, when we do get community complaints, and I urge people to use the Honolulu 311, they can send photos through that. We do monitor at CORE, and we will respond, at least with a small team, or if not a big team, to go out and engage encampments with HPD if we need them, with the MH3 tool if people are a danger to themselves or others. But we are responding to those. And again, we can't be everywhere, but we really try to get what's called, I guess, hotspots where people really seem to be in crisis.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll just flag, appreciate all the work that goes into identifying the numbers. I think we all know kind of the stressors or impacts or limitations of the point in time count. I'll just flag like Antidati that was here yesterday for emergency management presentation. They were homeless breakfast at Hauula Civic Center, brings in like 50 people. And that's just a small area, right? We know there's, like you said, Velziland. We have done 3 or 4 cleanups over the past few years. And so just flagging that there are large communities and, just ending, wanted to make sure you were aware. So, DCS, of course, last month was out at Ponzip, Honolulu, or Oceanside as some of the providers or developers from Chinatown were looking at expanding that and reactivating that. And, just understanding, of course, Kupuna housing is a part of that. The CUNY's been opening, changing the underlying covenants to make that more accessible to families as well. But because of its, historic use of having the subsection of the unit for our property for dementia patients, there's that separate ward with a separate dining that's kind of closed off and contained. And so maybe worth also having discussions with them as that property moves towards being activated about whether some type of additional transitional or respite could be provided, given that it could be contained in a more safely, a safe way. Of course, not guaranteed, but I think worth having the conversation just given the design of the building and the needs in the community.
And that is a great property. And it would really serve that coastline from Kahuku probably to Kaneohe well. The only difficulty would be, it is far if we were to bring somebody there from like Pearl City or Wahiawa or Waianae, but to service that community or people who wanted to live in that community and transition, it is a great property.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's only about 10 units in that separate ward. So not solving the entire island's crisis, but I do think for all of us, I guess from my vantage point, having more regionally based facilities would help minimize the impact. Because even myself, like I've seen same individuals in, say, downtown, walking down Kamehameha Highway in front of McDonald's and Wahiawa. So people are generally often returning to where they're comfortable with or have family ties. And so I think trying to diversify and just spread out the opportunities we have can help folks get out of that cycle because, as they stay in the cycle, I think we see the impact across the island. But appreciate all the work you're doing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Wire. Councilmember Tolba.
Thank you, Chair. Director, thank you. And thank you to your staff in EMS. For the treat no transport option as potential revenue, what is the timeline for seeing if that can be implemented?
So we had talked about this with the state administrative rules. So an ambulance bill now is around $3,000. The state a few years ago set that treat no transport rate at about $1,000 or a little more. Personally, I felt that was a little excessive, but that sunsetted, so it's no longer in their administrative rules. So unless they revived a fee schedule for treat no transport, we would have to do it through this body, something we would propose. I think $300 to $500 would be a little more reasonable. Generally, it can be covered by insurance. It certainly would be covered by no fault or workman's comp and a lot of the private insurances, Medicare, Medicaid, depending. But so the timeline would be is if we did introduce something through this body, it could be as soon as 2 or 3 months. But again, just going back, I support treat, no transport. It's just I want to make sure we don't stick people with a bill that they can't afford.
But why is this a good thing? Give us your opinion why this is a good thing, and maybe explain to the public who is watching, I hope they are, why this is good. Because there's a lot of abuse, right?
Well, there are people who use EMS and the fire department for that matter, for especially certain care homes and skilled nursing facilities. They'll call, not all, but there's a few that regularly will call the fire department because they need somebody lifted up and just put back in bed because they don't have enough staff. EMS is called to, like, quote, check somebody out, even though they have a medical director on the payroll and RNs on staff. And I don't really want to use the word abuse, but it's overuse of EMS resources. And for instance, when the ponds at Honolulu was open, we only had one ambulance up there, Kahuku, and they were going to that place, I think, a couple times a day sometimes, and then out of the community for the heart attacks and people who had drowning and other emergencies. So I don't know if it would make a huge difference in overuse of EMS, but I think it would make some difference. And then it would also generate revenue for the city that it could ultimately come back to EMS to fund more units.
Okay, I heard you mention satellite in Wahiawa for core, but I remember the mayor saying last year in his speech that we're coming to Waipahu in our site. So what's the status on having core in our location?
So about 6 months ago, we, as you know, worked with a facility in Waipahu to put core there. And because of the way that facility was funded as affordable housing, they couldn't let us use it because of the way the bond was, is my understanding. So our goal is to still have a contingent in Waipahu, and that would actually be ideal because the Evil team can get over to Kailua pretty quick. It's just right across the Poly. But to get out to Kapolei and Waianae, being in Waipahu would be ideal. Getting out to the North Shore, Wahiawa is ideal. So it's still on our plans. We just have to find the right facility because we don't want to overspend and put a lot of money into rent. We'd rather have a smaller footprint where the folks, especially who live on that side, could come into work. And again, core service is the whole island, but to have a base there where they know, I was at a park deep in Eva Beach, a beach park. I don't remember where. I went down Fort Weaver Road and took a left. It's down there across from one of the golf courses. But there was probably 8 homeless that lived there, and I talked with them all. And having somebody down there would be able to kind of engage those folks on a regular basis. And a lot of the working core is getting to know people and trust for the voluntary part, and they've been really successful at that. But again, if they get down and find that those people, because of substance abuse or mental illness, are a danger to themselves or others, then we would apply the MH3 for an involuntary transport.
Thank you, Director, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Toba. Thank you, Director. So before we go to the second round of questions, I had a couple of follow-up questions. And one of them was related to your slide. Just to clarify, and again, I'm not sure what page this is. This is the Health Services branch where you brought up it was 167.3 increase for rental space. I believe that's what you said. Where exactly is this rental space again?
So previously, the Health Services branch was in a 70-year-old fire station in Evile.
So where exactly are you talking about right now?
That's where they were. It was dilapidated. It may be getting torn down for skyline development, Transocean development. So about 3 years ago, we moved Health Services to the Laliha Medical Building on the campus of the old St. Francis Hospital in Laliha. And for the first, I believe, 3 years, we used federal funding to cover the rent for that space.
I just want to clarify. So this is the Laliha Medical Building. That's okay. Thank you. And then some other follow-up questions. You mentioned the billing, and I wanted to go back to that. So if you could give me an update, was the department successful on your appeal to the Medicare, to recover the 6+ months from 2022, early 2023?
My understanding is no.
No. Okay. Do you know what that amount was?
Off the top of my head, no, but I could get that to you.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. Yeah, because I want to know how much we as a city had to absorb if that amount was not a.
But part of that was covered in the stipend from the state up front, knowing though that there would be a period where we wouldn't be able to collect.
And then
But I
there
can
was-
get you those numbers.
Yeah, there was a part that we didn't. So we have not won that appeal. We did not recover that funding. If you could get me that amount, that would be great. And you did mention, another one of my questions was brought up, if you believe that EMS is maximizing revenue opportunities and how so. You brought up the treat no transport billing. You brought up the state changed the way, you talking about the state changing its way to collect for Medicaid. Is there any other ways that you think the department is able to maximize revenue opportunities other than those mentioned?
Thank you for that question. So like I said, we follow the state EMS billing guidelines. Now, this body and our department could raise the transport rate for ambulance. Instead of $3,000, we could potentially charge, I'm just making this number up, but let's just say $5,000. However, Medicare and Medicaid only pay so much, around $600, $700, no matter what we charge, whether it's $1,000 or $10,000. So those higher rates then fall on commercial insurance, like HMSA and Kaiser, no fault, and workman's comp. So we could change the base rate of the above and beyond what the state sets as the rates. So that would generate some more revenue from HMSA, Kaiser, no fault, and workman's comp, and I guess cash paying patients. That's one way. The treat no transport is another way, and that could also be covered by insurance, so it wouldn't necessarily soak somebody with a bill. And then through the Medicaid enhancements, the changes the state would have to make to get for the rural discrepancies. So the way that program works, the way I understand it is, maybe it costs us $800 to do a transport, and Medicaid only reimburses $600 per se. And then that $200 difference comes from that special fund to, quote, make the city whole on money we're essentially losing by transporting Medicaid patients. So that would also generate revenue.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, to go back to the treat no transport, I know Councilmember Talbot was asking about this also. So this is a plan, and you have mentioned in the past that your services are often abused, and we're trying to minimize or mitigate that. Have you guys started this? If you can clarify with me, and how has that worked? Or is this just a plan right now?
Right now, we do treat no transport every day. We just don't bill for it.
You don't bill. I'm sorry, the billing is a part I was wondering.
Right, so because the sunsetted administrative rules have sunset at the health department, we would have to propose a fee and come to this body to discuss it and approve it.
Okay, thank you. And I thank you also for providing the status update last week. And there was a communication from your department, D-161. In this communication, in your report that revenue collection is close to $50 million, which you also mentioned today. However, the statement of revenues and the mayor's operating budget on page C6 reflects around $46 million. Can you explain the discrepancy?
Yeah, so I think we had to provide that last August to our budget team. So we just used the number that we provided in August. So as we prepared for the budget. But when we reanalyzed it last week, it's the higher number.
It's the higher number. Okay. Okay, thank you for clarification.
Which I'm happy about.
You mentioned today the MH3. I know that was talked about for those who are a danger to themselves and the progress that you've made. I was wondering what happens to those patients. So you get them off the street, which is a great thing for them and for the community. But what happens with them after? We take them, we transport them, I'm assuming. They go to the ER, the hospital, and then what happens after that?
So the MH3 is a detainment for emergency transportation for an emergency evaluation. It has to be signed off by a healthcare provider and a law enforcement officer. We've taken half of them to the Behavioral Health Crisis Center, the other half between Castle and Queens ER. Of the approximately 34 we've taken so far, we know 11 are in some type of structured environment now, whether it's a medical respite, the hospital, I think one went to hospice, the Gregory House, I believe one person, One person's an IHS detox for an addiction, but the remaining were deemed no longer to be a danger to themselves and released from those facilities where we took them.
So out of the 34, just 11 of them were deemed not unstable or deemed fit, and they were put back out. And then I guess the other less than 20, 19, they're kept into a facility.
So some of them stayed wherever we took them. Some of them were released a week later, some of them were released a day later. But when we followed up on all of them, 11 are not on the streets now. And my understanding is the remainder have gone either back to the streets or gone home or gone somewhere.
11 are not on the streets. Okay, so the majority of them, for one reason or another, are put back on the streets. And then what happens? I'm assuming that they're not going to all of a sudden not be a danger overnight.
Right, and we have found some of...
Put them back in? You get them again?
Sorry, if we come across them again, core, and they are a danger to themselves or others, we will do another MH3. So we've had 2 or 3 people amongst those 34 that have had more than one MH3.
Okay. I think moving forward, this would be good to watch because you mentioned it a lot today, which it sounds like at first glance that it's a good thing, but it's kind of like the court system. If we're just repeating the cycle that's not actually helping, then we want to address what can we do to address the repeats from the behaviors of happening and us using resources to get them in, and then they're released again. So thank you for that clarification. Last question before I go to round 2. You mentioned earlier, I think it was a Councilmember Wyer's questions, that you're needing a next tier of places to go that is beyond core and beyond the department. What did you mean by that? So where are you thinking of having these places at a next tier or a next level of places for core patients to go?
Thank you for that question. So core has gotten very good at getting people off the streets somewhere. HONU, the Behavioral Health Crisis Center, an ER, one of the medical respites. Core is doing very well at that as we speak, especially with the MH3s, the people who are a danger to themselves. But beyond those places, those aren't places that you can stay at. Generally the medical respites, we like them there 1 to 3 months, but it's not some place you just stay forever. And so what I'm finding is from the medical respites, a lot of the folks are going to nursing homes or foster care, ARCH, adult residential care homes, and that's working pretty well. The folks with mental illness, significant mental illness, some of them are going to the medical respites, but we need a place for them to go. And that's something that the state, the DOH, DCS to a certain degree, that's more in their arena rather than in our arena, core. But the state hospital is the obvious choice, but they are over capacity by something like 80 patients. So really, they don't have any more room at the facility. But then we have a private facility, Kahi Mohala, that's owned by Queens. It's probably only 20% occupied.
Okay. So in your expert opinion, that would be what you meant by next tier level. Okay. Thank you very much, Director Ireland. Starting with any second round questions, Vice Chair, Chair Waters, Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair Okimoto. Hi, Dr. Ireland. I have a follow-up about a discussion and resolution that we had in year 2024 about mental health services assessments. And is that embedded within and budgeted for within the health services branch within EMS to offer that for first responders?
Sure. You want to?
Councilmember, can you clarify that question one more time so we just make sure? I think we addressed it before, but just want to clarify.
Sure, yes. Back in 2024, I know that we had a discussion both in committee and council and looking to support our first responders with a mental health assessment via Resolution 24-219. And I know that there are abilities to do so possibly currently, and with maybe even, maybe not contracts, but like programs that your department is able to offer first responders. Is that being budgeted and effectuated through health health services branch, or within the administration, or where can we find that in your budget?
You're not going to find it in the budget. It is a part of a program that's already been in existence prior to the resolution. I think you guys just supported it. The health services branch does do some type of mental health screening when you do come in for your physical, but each of the first responders do have peer support programs. We in EMS, we have a peer support program. We go through peer training, and as well as the fire department, the police department, they have training programs where they learn how to speak and defuse situations or debrief after a mass event such as a pediatric cardiac arrest or a mass shooting or something to that effect. All of our departments do have some type of services that we offer to all our peers and workers.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a consultant or even a contract, it's just already offered through another programming that is partnered.
So the city we do have an employee inside the health services branch that's an employee assistance program, and we do have a contract with Work Life Hawaii. So if you do want to get referred out and not work within the city confines of the city's peer support program, you do have that option also, and that applies to every city employee.
I understand. Okay, so just already embedded through, you said Work Life Hawaii, and then also within an employee within the health services branch.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification
You're welcome.
and allowing me to ask for the follow-up. And thank you, Chair Okimoto.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, if it's appropriate, I think we should move to the next department, but we thank you guys for standing up there for so long. If no one else has, I'm in favor of that.
Thank you, Councilmember Tupola, Councilmember Kiaina, Dos Santos Tam, Wire, Tolba, everybody. Oh, and Chair Waters. Any follow-up? Nope. Okay. Thank you so much. I want to echo, we're grateful for all that you guys are doing, especially keeping our community safe. Thank you for being here with us.
I appreciate the time. I appreciate getting to go first. This is the first time we've done that. I love that. I appreciate all your support. And again, just thank our paramedics, dispatchers, and EMTs for all the work they do. Thanks.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Yes, we really are grateful. Members, moving on now to the next department. We're grateful to have with us the Honolulu Police Department. And for your information, this presentation is available online as Departmental Communication 174-2026. Joining us today, I believe I see Acting Chief Ratty Vanek and Deputy Chief Aaron Takasaki Young, as well as, I believe, the Finance Division Major Ryan Hironaka. Good morning, Chief Vanek.
Aloha, Chair Okimoto, Vice Chair Nishimoto, committee members. Mahalo for the opportunity to provide our budget for fiscal year 26-27. And just give me a moment while the PowerPoint comes up. All right, let's begin. Yeah. Right on the first page, you'll see here that our total request for fiscal year 2027 is about $396 million. That represents a 5.48% increase from last fiscal year. 326 million of that is attributed to salaries. That's about a 6.34% increase from last fiscal year. A little over 63 million of that is attributed to current expense, which is about a 11.88% increase. 7 million of that is related to equipment, which is a decrease from last year, so totaling 396 million, which is a total increase of about 20.5 million. Moving on to the next slide. So going over significant budget issues. So we're not requesting any new positions. You'll see there for police cars within our operating budget. There's a $7 million request So we're on a current replacement cycle, which is designed to reduce the repair costs, fleet downtime, also vehicle shortages and excessive use of our newer patrol vehicles, which can significantly reduce service life. Also, the cost per vehicle includes the radios, accessories, prisoner restraints, the graphics on the outside of the vehicle, emergency lighting, siren, and communication mounting equipment. So that's all included in the cost of the vehicle. Also, we have an online firearm application, which is a $1 million request. That is to accommodate faster and easier application process, and that's also a requirement that was required by a civil lawsuit. We have a P25 radio upgrade, which is about a $6.5 million request. That is as a result of our older models, which are at the end of life, support from the current manufacturer. That includes software, parts, and maintenance, which will cease to be supported. And then finally, retention pay for our communication division or our police dispatchers and emergency radio operators. That is for $1.7 million. That is to retain essential experienced employees for overall public safety. Moving on to the next, over the next two slides, I'll be going over our vacancies for both our civilian and sworn positions. And then this is broken down into also the general and highway subsidized funded vacancies. So for our civilian vacant positions, as of February 2nd, 2026, for our civilian positions, there were 177 vacant positions. That reflects a deletion of 15 deactivated positions. And these positions, we anticipate to fill 19 before the end of this fiscal year. And within the fiscal year next year, we anticipate to fill 70 positions. Moving on to our sworn positions, you see there that as of February 2nd, 2026, there were 448 vacant positions. But if you take into consideration currently that we have 152 recruits in training, we have 17 police services officers, or more commonly referred to as cadets. Our current uniform vacancies is 279. So before the end of this fiscal year, 23 of those recruits that are currently in training they're currently in fourth watch. They will fill permanent positions, so they'll count against our vacancies. And then the other 129, so of the 152, 129 in the next fiscal year, they will be assigned to permanent positions and they will count against our vacancies. So those will be filled in fiscal year 2027. What the slide doesn't show, though, is that we'll continue to hire recruits. In our last police recruit class, we had 49 police recruits and 1 lateral. And in the next class that we're recruiting for, we anticipate at least 50 again. We have 4 classes per year. So we actually anticipate hiring 200 recruits per year. But as you folks know, in the number of budget presentations and with meeting with each of you individually, unlike other departments, when we hire these individuals, we don't fill our vacancies immediately, right? Because we need to train them. They don't count towards our vacancies until after an extended period of time. So while we continue to hire, they don't automatically count towards our vacancies. These individuals that I have on the slide here, though, they do. These are individuals who we hired probably at least 1 or maybe even possibly 2 fiscal years ago. They're currently in training. Some of them are in what we call, and what you folks know as fourth watch. Some are still in the academy. But over the next fiscal year, and even in this fiscal year, they'll be coming out of the academy. They'll be going into fourth watch. They'll be assigned to a permanent position, and they will count against our vacancies. Moving on to the next slide. So in regards to our non-holiday overtime, and this is just broken down into the different funds. So for the general fund, you'll see there is just shy of $30 million for fiscal year 2027, and highway fund is 2.7 for a total of about $33 million. One thing I'd like to point out, though, for fiscal year 27 compared to fiscal year 26 is it's the same. What I'd also like to point out, though, is that keep in mind that we've had from last fiscal year to this fiscal year is 5% across the board CBA increases. So there was a 5% CBA increase for that occurred in July of 2026, which wasn't accounted for when we did our fiscal year 26 budget. And then there's going to be another 5% across the board increase that's going to take effect on July 1st, 2026. Sorry, the other one was 2025, one that will take effect in 2026. That isn't reflected in the fiscal year 2026 appropriated budget. So keep in mind that our fiscal year request is for overtime is the same as last year. Moving on to the next non-holiday overtime by activity. So this just gives a breakdown of that last slide by activity. So as you can see, which is expected, right? Patrol has obviously a large majority of the overtime number, 21, almost 22 million. And then the second largest is in investigations, about 5.8 million, close to 5.9. If you take into account what the hours are, so just a breakdown by hours, that 21.9 million, that comes out to about just under 270,000 hours. And then for investigative hours, that comes out to about 70,000 hours. So if that's just a breakdown of what those dollar amounts come out to. Moving on to the next slide for holiday overtime by fund, again, broken down. So for the general fund is 1.18. For the highway fund is about 264 for a total of about 11.3. And then again, if you look total hours, that comes out to about 100 and just shy of 140,000 hours total. And then holiday overtime by activity. Again, if you break that down, again, as you would expect, patrol obviously has the lion's share of the amount at a little over 10 million, and then followed again by investigations at about 670,000. And then hours-wise, patrol, that's just under 120,000 hours of overtime. For investigations, that's a little over 8,000 hours. Moving on to revenue sources, while our department isn't a revenue-generating department, we do have some revenue. And then, I won't go over the numbers. You can see what the numbers are there, but I will describe to you what those different categories are. So for license and permit, basically what that is our firearms and alarms permit. That's where the money is being generated from. For charges for services, basically that's for copies of records. So an individual wants a copy of their report. For alarm service charges, special duty fees, that's another type of charge for service. For fines and forfeits, basically that's alarm fines or forfeiture of seized property. For miscellaneous, things that fall under that category would be sundry refunds. So as an example, if we get a refund that's outside of the fiscal year, instead of that refund going back into our operating budget, it then goes into the general fund and it counts as revenue. Also, any vacation accumulation deposit or auction sale for unclaimed property counts under miscellaneous. And then parking is self-explanatory. Any city and county parking lots or the civic center parking lots, for example, our HPD headquarters metered lot, Kailua Elderly Housing Parking Lot, Kuhio, Kaiolu, Kaimuki, Kailua, all of those different city and county lots. That all counts as revenue for the city. And then moving on to the federal funds. So we do have some federal funds that are included in our operating budget. So for positions, we have 3 specific positions that are funded by federal funds. And this is attributed or falls under our scientific investigative section, or more commonly referred to as our crime lab. We have 3 positions that are federally funded related to a DNA backlog reduction program. And there are 2, or 1 criminalist 2 position and 1 criminalist, or 2 criminalist 1 positions. In regards to federal funds under current expense, we have ongoing. Basically, these are all grants that we're currently administering. For the Department of Defense, basically that we have funds related to our main station generator, different conferences and trainings that we attend, also some software and other equipment that we purchase. For the Department of Health, that one is specific to tobacco enforcement that we administer. For the Department of Transportation, that one is pretty self-explanatory to any traffic safety grants that we administer. Office of Justice Programs, that one is a multiple different type of safety grants. So it could, some examples of that would be de-escalation training, DNA capacity enhancement and backlog reduction. We also do expanding forensic capabilities. Our K9 unit also is another example of some of the different types of programs that we fund using that particular grant. And then for the Office of National Drug Control Policy, that one is, again, self-explanatory. That one is utilized for drug enforcement. And then finally, getting into our capital improvement projects. So we have several different projects that I'd like to highlight. So the first is our HPD headquarters parking garage expansion joint waterproofing. So this is one of 7 improvement projects for HPD headquarters to address various leaks. It's a rebid, actually, meaning that it was deferred in previous fiscal years, as the cost estimate for this provided by the design consultant was lower than the actual bids. So this one, we're reinvigorating this fiscal year. DDC went back to the design consultant to reevaluate the estimates and the work needed to complete this project. Also, unanticipated mechanical, electrical, plumbing improvements. This could be used in any phase and also could be used if an existing project needed additional funding. On the next slide, you'll see here $750,000 for the design phase of the Pearl City Police Station. So this is to design a replacement police station. You know, the last known estimated cost for construction was just under $40 million. This is obviously going to be a multi-year project. We anticipate for over a 6-year period. In fiscal year 27, $750,000, which you see here for design. In fiscal year 28, $1.2 million for design. Fiscal year 29, 1.5 again for design, so that would finish out the design. Fiscal year 2030, which would be a majority of the construction, would be $24 million for construction. 2031, $10 million for construction. And then 2032, which would finish out construction and inspection, $13 million. So that would be the 6-year projection for this project. You know, it has remained in the planning stage for an extended period of time due to obvious ongoing financial constraints. But as a department, we are committed to making sure that we provide a station for the individuals who live in this area. It is contingent on making sure that we build a temporary station. So there are some challenges, but like I said, we want to make sure that we get this project done. It's a priority for us. Moving on to the next slide. This project is for a police evidence warehouse. It's, although this is a new project, this has been a project that's been in our books for at least the past 10 years. And it's new just meaning that we haven't completed design before. We currently estimate the cost to be approximately $8 million for construction. Due to the high initial cost estimate and limited CIP budget, it's been deferred for other projects. We're currently leasing warehouse space for 2 locations at a cost of approximately $2.5 million per year. So you can see why this is a priority for us. So yeah, this is something that we feel needs to be done sooner than later, because the longer we put it off each year, that we're gonna have to keep on paying those leases. So this is something we wanna get started now. Also going on to the next slide. So we have 2 projects outside of the main police station, which is at our Kaneohe Police Station and our Kalihi Police Station. The Kaneohe Police Station is for our fuel tank improvement, and that's for $1.3 million for construction and $25,000 for inspection. That's to replace the underground fuel storage tank to an above ground storage tank based on Department of Health guidelines. So in 2025, there was a suspected water leak to the fuel tank, which was verified. Additionally, all underground fuel storage tanks must be moved to above ground by July 2028. So therefore, this project necessitates that. The Kalihi Police Station project for that is for improvements to the ventilation and circulation of air in our men's locker room and also other areas within the station. The design portion is $75,000 and for in fiscal year 23. And then for this part, we're adding additional design. The funds were allocated in the previous year, but the work didn't commence due to other construction projects at the station. Therefore, we needed more funds to start up this design again. This project has been deferred since there will be 2 other projects in the station pretty much occurring simultaneously. So we want to get this project going again. And then like we had at the main police station, we also have funds dedicated for unanticipated mechanical, electrical, and plumbing improvements. You see there $100,000. And again, this can be used in any phase for design, construction, or inspection, and it can also be used if other projects need additional funding. And then finally, this is the last slide. So for CIP equipment, you'll see here that there are 13 different types of vehicles for a total of 74 vehicles, all in CIP equipment. And unlike the vehicles that are in our current expense, these vehicles have a price tag of over $60,000 and an expected or a life expectancy of over 10 years. Whereas the vehicles in our current expense have a life expectancy of under 10 years. Also, the difference between these vehicles and the vehicles in our current expense are those are all patrol vehicles. These are all support vehicles. So the significance there is that our patrol vehicles, the way we use those are much more rigorous. Some of those vehicles can be used on a 24/7 basis. As an example, especially if they're used in town or actually even in the country, regional districts. An officer could literally use that vehicle during the duration of his or her shift, bring that vehicle in, that vehicle could then be gassed up. Another officer could jump into that vehicle and take it out for another 12-hour shift. And so that vehicle could then be used for a 24-hour period straight. And that could happen for days on end. So that is typically why those vehicles are used much more rigorously. That is kind of the life cycle of a patrol vehicle, which is why those vehicles have a much shorter lifespan than these vehicles, which are in our CIP. These vehicles are typically, they can be not as expensive, but these are more specialized vehicles. These could be like our SSD vehicles. These are vehicles with lifts. These are vehicles that provide support to patrol or other specialized units. So we don't use them as rigorously, but they're still very, very important. So they have typically a longer lifespan, longer life expectancy. So therefore they can be utilized, they can be purchased with bonds because the life expectancy is much greater, definitely over 10 years. Whereas the life expectancy for one of our patrol vehicles, they're not gonna last as long just because we use them more rigorously. Although I must say that our vehicle maintenance personnel, they do a very, very excellent job of keeping our vehicles very, very safe for our officers. That concludes my presentation, and I am here to answer, I'm sure, the multitude of questions you folks have.
Thank you so much, Chief Bannock. We'll start the questions off with Councilmember Cordero this round. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Okimoto. Hi, Acting Chief Bannock. Thank you very much for being here and the rest of your team. I think I see the former Kalihi Major Assistant Chief Arquero back in this chamber again. So good to see him. Okay, so first off, was it 1 or 2 police evidence warehouses?
So we're asking for 1 evidence warehouse, but we currently lease 2.
Okay, currently leased 2, asking for in addition to the 2?
So I anticipate that once we have the 1 that we build, we'll be able to stop leasing the 2.
Okay, that's good. That supplements that then. Okay, thank you. I do want to highlight Pro City Police Station. Yeah, so when I saw that $750,000 for $750,000 for design, wasn't a part of the planning including design? Sorry, wasn't part of the planning for the police station, for Pearl City Police Station, also include the design aspect?
Yes, so the amount that we're asking for the planning for this and the design doesn't cover the entire amount for planning. So in future fiscal years, we actually need to ask for additional amounts. So in fiscal year 28, and actually even in 29, we plan to ask for an additional $2.7 million to cover the rest of design.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know that almost half the council, okay, a little less than half the council, District 3 covers. We have Committee Vice Chair Okimoto, Councilmember Tolba, myself, and Councilmember Wire, whose districts are serviced by D3. And we just want to make sure that the capacity is supported for not just the community there, but especially our officers that are at D3. I do love going down there and meeting with them all the time. So I'm there for good reasons, not bad reasons. So just letting you know. Okay, so my next question is in relation to the collaborative enforcement effort with narco. Is it still with Narco Vice for illegal gambling establishments? I do want to thank our council vice chair and as well as Councilmember Dos Santos Tam for their work with really hooing that with HPD, but I can't really see them, and maybe it's scattered across your budget, like how that narco vice and enforcement for illegal gambling establishments are supported.
Yeah, so we have several different ways in our budget that we support narcotics vice. So some of it is captured in our overtime budget. A lot of it is also captured in our activity that falls under our investigative activity, which Narco Vice falls under. In our last fiscal year, just under the overtime alone portion, there were 34 illegal gambling rooms that were raided, resulting in 362 illegal gambling machines that were seized, over 250,000 or close to $260,000 of cash seized, resulting in 41 arrests, 50 arrests also from that of human trafficking. So a lot of the monies that go into our budget, specifically in either overtime and or investigative activity, result in a lot of very, very good arrests, which result in a reduction of crime related to specifically illegal game rooms.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I do want to move on to P25 radios. I know that you mentioned a $6.5 million in upgrades, and I know that prior, this is a continuous request, but do you also get P25 radios also funded through Department of Information Technology, or is that just theirs? You fund for your own, yeah?
Yes, all of the radios that we pay for are funded completely out of our operating budget.
Okay, and so I know that roughly around the same amount, maybe a little bit more in the last fiscal years, are requested for P25 radios from HPD. Do we not bulk and is this part of the planning to upgrade your P25 radios? Is you do maybe 100 one year, 100 next year, things like that?
Yes, so we wanted to phase the replacement of our radios. Also, to try and do it all in one fiscal year would have been taxing, I think, not only for the city monetarily wise, but also I think for our staff, just because the number to replace that amount labor wise would have been very taxing. Also, we wanted to make sure that we had a replacement plan and a replacement system. So while we replaced some of our radios, once we had those replaced, then we replaced the rest of them. So we did actually replace about half of them this fiscal year, and now we're looking to replace the other half that we didn't replace this upcoming fiscal year.
Okay, thank you. And I mentioned to Major Hironaka that I was going to ask this question, and this is in relation to, with hiring, retention, and recruitment. I know that we had heavy discussions about that, especially within 2021, 2022, 2023. And I know that we even were looking at different ways to have pockets of funding so that HPD would be able to then utilize that for retention and recruitment. I know that it's embedded within, I guess, for your hiring now, as opposed to having its own fund. So, is that easier to use? Are you able to explain why we aren't able to just siphon that so that we ensure each class may be able to get support through retention that way? I don't know if that made sense. Like a separate recruitment and retention bucket versus just just having it in the different areas for hiring.
Sure, recruitment and retention is a priority of our department, and I'd like to take this opportunity to give a shout out to Councilmember Tupola. I think she had the foresight to create the task force, which we were a part of. This budget process is a very long process. Our budget was due to the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services back in October. The recommendations came out in December, and by then our budget had been finalized. However, that doesn't mean that a lot of the recommendations that came out aren't priorities of ours. One thing that we're able to do in our budget is we're able to utilize cost savings in order to prioritize things that we aren't able to budget through line items. And one thing that we've been able to do over the years, and also even this upcoming fiscal year, in working with actually a lot of our council members, and even specifically with Councilmember Tupola, and Shopo, and other labor unions, is identify which of the priorities identified in the task force report, which we're able to actually fund through cost savings, make sure we identify those, and make sure that we get those things done. So we have identified a number of different items that we will be prioritizing moving forward. And some of those have definitely made it into our priority moving forward. While that isn't reflected necessarily in our budget, they have been and will be identified in other areas in a written form, as an example, in our department strategic plan, for example. So that would then memorialize in a written form how we would then move forward, saying that our department is committed to doing these things.
Okay, thank you. And so to me, that means that it isn't specific line item wise, which, you know, they always say that, like, you know, show me your budget, show me your priorities, right? But I guess we'll look forward to that strategic plan coming out when?
So that's also very interesting too, because we're in a we're in an interesting situation where we're also trying to choose the next chief of police. So it's a little tricky.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Acting Chief, and thank you very much, Chair Okimoto.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Vice Chair Tupola.
Thank you so much. Aloha, Chief. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Councilmember Cordero, for your thoughtful questions. I do want to thank Narco Vice. We went from 26 game rooms down to 7 or 6 that we have now, which is significant for us. So we're super grateful. And of course, I will go over some of the things she brought up with the retention. Let me just go in order of the slides. So first off, for the 1 million online fire application, will this help to free up maybe, are there currently uniform officers that are doing the application, civilians? And will this help to free up people to do other work?
You know, I think there's a possibility. I think we have to see. It'll definitely make the process more efficient, being that it'll be online. I think we have to see what it'll do to the process once it's incorporated. I cannot guarantee that it'll relieve officers, but there's always the possibility. One of our goals, obviously, is to make work more efficient. And if we do find that as a result, it requires less work for our officers, like when an individual comes in because all of the work has already been accomplished ahead of time, yeah, that would be actually one of the things where we'd be able to do.
I could be wrong, but I think there currently is a uniform officer that does like the CCWs. And so I've always thought that it should just be a contract hire or maybe even civilian. It is a clerical process.
So there are certain parts of the process that are clerical, but there are other parts of the process that require a uniformed officer, especially some of the safety things with handling the firearms, inspecting the firearms. Not to say that a non-uniformed person couldn't do that, but that's something that we could take a look at as far as the process goes and evaluate whether or not we absolutely need an officer to do it.
Thank you, Chief. Next, 1.7 million pay for the communications. Was that the one that HGEA worked on as differential pay, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So the agreement was that it was supposed to conclude at the end of this fiscal year. But, you know, the individuals who work in our communications division, they work hard. And, you know, they really deserve to get paid accordingly. So what this does is it shows them that they're valued, and we need to continue that until we can maybe raise their pay instead of just adding to their pay. So this, I'm glad that this was added by the mayor and his administration and prioritized, and that we want to show them that we value them. And, you know, I'm hoping that the city council also approves this.
Oh, yeah. No, I think HGEA negotiated this. So definitely I want to thank them for that. They do have mandated overtime for the dispatcher. So if they don't have enough staff for the next shift, you are mandated to stay and cover at least half. So we know already they're working lots of hours. We appreciate them. Next slide. For the vacancies for civilian, is it realistic to say that we can fill 70 positions in FY 2027? It says that 19 will be filled before July 1 of this year. but I don't know the reality of 70 being filled in 2027.
Yes, I believe we can fill 70.
Really? Okay, let's go with that belief. Okay, next page. I think with the uniform position vacancies, my question on the police services officer is the 17, the LEAP program? No, not.
No, so the 17, and that's as of February 2nd, I believe we actually hired several more, if I'm not mistaken, since then. But those are our cadets. So those are the ones who have tested, but they're not eligible. Some are not eligible because they haven't reached age yet. But those are the ones who, those are the guys in the white shirts, you know, the ones who haven't gone into the academy yet. But
is this the ones that says like 68,000 a year? No,
yeah, that's
those
the ones.
guys.
Yeah, so those are the ones who like we go into the high schools and say, hey, come join us.
Yeah, Augie was over here recruiting for you guys. I mean, that's a lot of pay for young
there
kids.
You go.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
but
those
this
are the guys.
is post leap. So
Post-sleep.
Post-sleep. So if you think
I
about it
see.
like as a pathway, they're post-sleep, pre-academy, right in between. We're trying to capture those individuals who are kind of in between. What we found was these individuals who want to come into the department, when they do their background checks, they're making bad decisions right in that kind of gray area. So we want to capture them so that they make good decisions. We want to train them, give them an idea of, hey, this is what police work is about, so that when they do join the academy, it's not like culture shock. Whoa, I didn't know what I was getting to, and then they end up leaving, yeah.
Good, no, and I did mention in a previous hearing, just if there is a way for you guys to put on the application when people apply that they did these things, the Explorer program, whatnot. I mean, these are people who like care, like they want it. So give them some preference or whatnot. Next question that I have is on non-holiday overtime pay by activity. So for the overtime pay that you guys are doing for patrol, and then of course there's holiday and non-holiday, we're at about 30 million. What is your policy on overtime? I did have quite a few officers ask me, what's going on with the budget? I heard we're cutting overtime. Like, first off, I don't think we've ever cut overtime, but I do believe that within district to district, there have been some different stances on how overtime shall be used or not. So what is the current policy of you, Chief, for overtime usage, district to district? Your thoughts?
Overtime is basically dictated by collective bargaining agreement. It shall be used equitably and fairly across the board. And obviously, we use it when either someone calls in sick, someone's on vacation. We want to make sure that staffing is at a certain level. This belief that is being cut, maybe that has something to do with the fact that we want to make sure we're utilizing overtime and being fiscally responsible. So I'm not sure where that's coming from.
But your stance, I guess, from district to district is the majors make the decision. If it needs to be used, they're able to utilize it. You don't necessarily cut overtime from their, I guess, purview.
That's correct. It's used as needed to achieve operational goals. That's correct.
For the commission amount, I'm not going to go over the overtime per se, but we're budgeting $734,945 for the police commission, and I know you guys said it's because we have lawyers. I just want to make mention that the fire commission spends $23,000, which is significantly less. So the $734,000 for the police commission is because we have lawyers, or it is like astronomically higher? But maybe help me understand why the police commission would have such a big budget.
I'm sorry, where are you looking? Sorry.
I'm in the book.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm in this binder. I apologize. This is the one that we're looking at. But inside the Honolulu Police Department, you guys, of course, budget for police commission. If you have to get back to me on that, you can. It's just always been a question of mine why it's so much.
I can tell you just anecdotally, typically the 734,000 is spent for like the salary for investigators. It's spent for the salary for their executive officer. They have different types of travel and training, so they do have a staff. But other than that, I can look more into it and get back to you.
Well, you think it'd be best if I just asked the chair of the commission maybe for a breakdown? Because it doesn't give us a breakdown here. It's just
Okay,
general.
no problem.
Okay. And then the Office of National Drug Control, you guys have FFY 2027 1.5. Looks like it's a one-time, or do you guys ongoingly fund Office of National Drug Control policy? I'm on page 12.
That's the 1.5.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if it's like a one-time because maybe we had federal funds, now we don't, or what is that about?
That's the height. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with what HIDA is, the high intensity drug trafficking area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's their expenses for that particular fiscal year, and then that's the amount that it comes out to, the 1.585.
They're not federally funded. It's always through you guys' general funds that we do that.
That's the federal monies that's allotted for.
Oh, so that was federal money that was given for that program,
That's
right?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think you guys pay that.
No. That's
Okay.
for that particular function. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Lastly, for some of the amendments that I'll be suggesting, I just wanted to make it clear that they're not a lot, but I think they're necessary. And I know, like how you said, you had to do this prior to the conclusion of the task force, but I will be suggesting we do referral bonuses, retention bonuses, anniversary bonuses, as well as the civilian parking. I think that it's reasonable. I think it will help. I appreciate the numbers that you guys have gotten it down to, but we got more work to do on the back end because every time we have guys come, then we have guys retire too. So thank you for your support in advance on any of those. Mahalo, Chief. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Councilmember Kia Aina. Oh, sorry, Tupola. Councilmember Kia Aina.
I have no questions. Aloha, everybody. Aloha, Chief, and as well as your team. Just a couple of comments. First, kudos to your fiscal team for getting things under control, especially with regard to the lapsed funds. Phenomenal to get it down to $2 million, yeah? Also appreciate the decrease in the equipment. I feel that under your leadership as well as your management team, that HPD overall is stabilizing the ship. So a couple of comments. Number one, I am confident if you look at both the civilian vacant positions and including the uniformed, right? Because you have recruits in training, 152. So the net uniform is 279, and you need to fill in 2027 129. Doable, yeah? Wouldn't that be terrific? So I just want to say gambate to your recruitment team and and for the task force, which Councilmember Tupola helped to shepherd. I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again because I know there's a lot of elements that people would love to implement. I am particularly interested in any kukua on the housing front for our officers, even if it's measured. So I know you guys cannot do a lot because all of you guys have to hold the line based on your directive from the administration, but that's an area of interest. And that's all I wanted to say. Mahalo to all of you.
Thank you, Flor Leader Kia Aina. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you. I'd like to start with slide 18. This is the vehicles. I understand we have a policy about trying to replace vehicles after a certain age. But last year, when we were analyzing HPD's budget request, we found one vehicle, HPD 1676, 2016 Ford Taurus, that only was reported to have 1,162 miles on it. Have we done a deep dive on which vehicles actually need to be replaced versus a overall policy of 10 years or older?
Yes, so our vehicle replacement is conducted by our vehicle maintenance superintendent, who's been with our department for, oh gee, I want to say like 87, 80, no, I'm saying, okay, like 30, shoot, I want to say like maybe 32, 33 years. She's been doing our vehicle replacement for a number of different years, but she has a number of years also in the field of vehicle maintenance. And I think besides just the mileage of a vehicle, there's also a number of different factors. And, you know, I'm not an expert in when a vehicle needs to be replaced, but I think there's other factors besides just the mileage of a vehicle of when it needs to be replaced.
No, and I certainly understand.
I really don't want to get into why that particular vehicle either was or wasn't, but I guess my response would be that if she, as an expert in her field, is telling me that the vehicle needs to be replaced, that me as the administrator of the department, I'm going to back her on that.
And I understand that. I understand that. Our job here, though, is to analyze all of these requests and to make sure that what's being requested is actually needed. And so that leads me to my next question about this page. I understand that some of these vehicles require certain improvements to be ready for more tactical uses, but a passenger minivan, $85,000. I mean, I just went on ServQuote Toyota's website. They have 8 Siennas sitting on their lot. The most expensive one is $50,245. I mean, and we're asking for $85,000 here. Is there, in looking at this vehicle expense, it seems like this might be padded. This might be a lot. What I'd like to understand clearly why something like a passenger minivan, which I don't think really has significant tactical needs that go above and beyond, you know, what you could get at ServQuote Toyota or any other dealership, $85,000 seems like a lot.
So I'll read you some of the descriptions that I have here. So, for example, a transit van of our support services, our specialized services division. It's a tactical van for use that requires avoiding of detection when responding to tactical operations. These are specific cargo vans that are slightly elevated, improving surrounding visibility, allowing for easy entry and exit for officers donning their full tactical gear. It also provides for the rapid transport of several teams to any one location instead of having officers arrive separately. It's an effective means of transporting and storing tactical equipment and weaponry, which is critical for our specialized services division.
I understand and appreciate this.
I understand that these vehicles may seem like they're, you know, stock and off the, I guess, production line, but these are vehicles that we're getting that support very critical uses, and some of these, I mean, these are the costs that we're being told that's how much they cost. So I'm not sure if you're maybe saying that we're padding the cost. I don't think that's the case.
Well, it's certainly a very expensive request, and we want to make sure, as the mayor has said, this is a lean budget year, that exactly what's being asked for is exactly what's needed. And it seems like this $7.55 million equipment acquisition capital budget line item is a whole lot, and I'd like to dig into that more via written questions to make sure that exactly what we're asking for is exactly what's needed. I guess working backwards through the slides, on page 12, this lists a number of federal agencies with which, from which we receive funding. I noticed the Department of Homeland Security is not listed. Is that because we don't receive any monies from the Department of Homeland Security?
That's correct. We don't have any grants through the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay. On slide 10, the miscellaneous revenue line item is significantly lower. I don't know if you explained that in a previous question.
I'm sorry, which?
On slide 10, miscellaneous. FY25 actual was 3.45 million. It was estimated last year at 2.1 million, and this year at 557,000. So from the FY25 actual to this year's estimate, that's 3 million. That's half the vehicles.
Yeah, so what I'm being told is it's just a projection. As the year goes on, it could go up, but for now, that's just our projection.
Okay. Again, in the lean budget year, I want to also make sure that our expected revenues are reflective of current conditions. And if the 25 actual was 3.4 million and 26 estimated was 2.1 million, this seems like a very large difference. And there's probably a material reason for this that I'd like to understand to make sure that if you are going to be asking for your overall budget, that the overall revenues, are commensurate as well. On slides 6 through 9, I know we talked a little bit about overtime. In fact, we talked a lot about overtime. These slides simply show requested for this year, which is fine. It's your budget presentation. It shows the amount that we appropriated last year. We know that because we were all sitting here during the budget process last year and know how much was appropriated. How much has actually been spent out of the FY26 appropriation? Are we close to being on track?
Actually, for our appropriation, we're over that amount.
So we're over that amount. So why are we not asking for more, knowing that we're already over from last year and knowing that we have so many vacancies that we need to be covering, much of which is through overtime?
Yeah, so working with the Department of Budget and Fiscal Services, we're actually told that the way we're submitting our budget, it's better to do it that way. It allows us to utilize the funds more fluidly when we do it that way.
Okay. So if we have spent more money on overtime than was appropriated from last year, where does that difference come from?
It comes from the vacancies.
So it comes from the salary savings and the vacancy side. Okay, I think that's why we need to be looking very carefully at how all of these pieces fit together throughout this budget process. I just have one other area of questioning, and this is on slide 3. This is for the online firearm application process, which this year you're asking for $1 million for. Last year, you also asked for $1 million for, and we appropriated $300,000. Did you use any of the $300,000 that was appropriated last year for things like planning, development, et cetera, to support this?
Yes, we did. It's currently out for bid.
And when is the bid deadline for that?
It's mid-April.
Are we going to have an opportunity to see how much the prospective bidders estimated? Because $1 million seems like a lot for this sort of licensing system when you compare it to the other licenses that the city issues, Liquor Commission, other jurisdictions as well.
When the solicitations come in, we'll know the bid amount.
Okay, thank you. And I again wonder whether this actually is reflective of how much it actually costs, given that other agencies do permitting, Liquor Commission, right? We're spending $185,000 a year on their licensing upgrades, which has been pretty robust and basically from the bottom up. Maryland, for example, the state of Maryland has a pretty robust firearm registration scheme that cost them $4.2 million to implement. And that included 35 positions. So the software itself could not have been all that much. I again want to make sure that if we're giving $1 million for this, that we're getting a product that's actually $1 million.
Thank you, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. And Chief Van Dyke, maybe you can just explain, if not in this setting, maybe to Councilmember Dos Santos Tam or to any of us. I'm assuming the process is different from permits for like liquor versus the firearm license, and maybe that's part of the process. Maybe if you could expound on that, the reason for the higher number that Councilmember Dos Santos Tam is asking.
Yeah, sure. I can't speak to what goes into liquor licensing, but I can tell you that based on the numbers, initial numbers that we got for the estimated cost to see how much it would cost to implement a system like this, that's the approximation that we got, which told us how much to request. So I'm not sure.
Is this a new system or the current system that you're just continuing? Just so to clarify, is this a new system or this is the current, just to continue this current system for the license?
This is for a completely new system. Yeah, the system doesn't currently exist, so it would be to build a system completely from scratch.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying. Okay, Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. And really just three things. Mahalo, Chief, and mahalo for having your whole team here. I wanted to first thank you just for your commitment to the community and continuing to have open dialogue, particularly with nonprofits during these times and getting accurate information out. That's seen. Very much appreciated, I think, by myself, our office, and our community. Two, just the work that your officers are doing and all of our first responders on the emergency response. I know we're coming up on some storms. Last time with the craziness, we had our first responders out there during mornings, getting people alerted, encouraging them to evacuate. And so super grateful for that. And just finally extremely grateful for all of our patrol, all of our officers, all of our teams, community policing team also, you know, just in being responsive to the community. You know, we frequently talk with the community about how, you know, folks can't be everywhere at all times. And so just being able to see the follow-up on issues that do come up and helps the community really see like, hey, folks, the HPD, but all of our departments, our city is paying attention. They're responding, you know, if it's an emergency, that's what gets addressed right away. And so we are seeing our community better understand that. And I think a lot of that is because of just the hard work of your men and women. So I wanted to say thank you for that. But mahalo, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Wire. Councilmember Toba.
Thank you, Chair, Chief, and aloha, guys. Thanks for being here. You know, in terms of the line item budget, you folks got the biggest vacancy cut back. So I mean, actually trying to understand how these cutbacks were calculated. And your budget looks like you're actually increasing your salary budgets, even though admin cut 16 million. So I guess you okay with the vacancy cutbacks?
You know, it's going to be tight, but we're going to make it work. Yeah, it's going to require us to be more fiscally responsible, but we're going to do our part to make sure that we continue to keep Honolulu safe.
Okay, and are those mainly coming from vacant positions that you know you won't be filling?
Yeah, you know, we'll still be able to fill the positions that we need to fill. We're just going to make sure that we're doing more with less.
Okay, and you know, just out of transparency, the $7 million for police cars that's coming out of the operating budgets, how many cars are that? The $7 million for police cars?
We anticipate that to be about 60 plus vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Toba. Committee Vice Chair Nishimoto.
Thank you. I have no questions. I'll email the chief in the interest of time.
Okay, Chair Waters.
Thank you so much. Just briefly, I just want to echo the comments that Councilmember Kia Aina made. I think you guys are doing a great job, you and your team. Appreciate the meeting that we had last week. I did just have a couple questions, one relating to vacancies and second relating to overtime. Based on your slide deck, with the civilian vacant positions, if you're gonna fill, looks like 89 positions, you're gonna have some vacancy savings. What does that equate to? First, money-wise, dollar-wise, and then secondly, do you plan or do you have any plans to spend that money?
I don't have that number offhand. We'll do some calculations and I can get back to you.
Okay.
Typically, we utilize the cost savings for a number of different things. I can tell you that a lot of the cost savings typically go to fund different projects over time, obviously, but not only over time. I mean, obviously, we do other things, but typically it's overtime. Overtime utilized for to reduce crime, for crime suppression. If it's for civilian, and we know it's in those particular activities, especially if it's coming out of activities that are in like our administrative or special bureaus or administrative, then we'll utilize them for those types of things. So also, we can utilize them to create contract work positions or fill contract positions. So those are just some of the things. As far as the actual numbers, the money, give us an opportunity to figure out what that dollar amount is, and then I can get back to you.
Okay, thank you. I know some departments use the salary savings to pay vacation payout? Not vacation, but when people retire, I guess it's called vacation payouts at the end. Is that part of what's used?
It could be, yeah. That's another option that we can utilize that for.
Because I know, and maybe this is a follow-up question for Budget and Fiscal Services, but there's $28.4 million in the provision for salary adjustments and vacation payouts. Just curious if you folks are able to tap that account in order to pay, especially for the civilian employees. And again, maybe that's a good question for BFS.
That's a good question. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I think we're still discussing it, but.
Okay,
Yeah.
and again, this provision for salary adjustments and vacation payouts is not in your budget. It's in, I guess, the main budget. But moving to the next slide on page 5, thank you for this breakdown of the 448 vacant positions, of which 152 are recruits, 17 are police service officers, and then the net uniform vacancies is 279. Do you have a dollar amount? What kind of money are we talking about? 279 vacant positions. What does that equal?
I can probably calculate that if you ask me maybe about 5 more questions.
Okay, yeah, and if you can get back to us later, that's fine. And then I guess my same question, what do you do with the money from these vacancy savings? Is it the same overtime and other priorities?
Yeah, same. So we would utilize that probably for overtime to create contract positions, crime suppression, for different types of projects, vacation, again, payouts, so.
Is that something that's specifically budgeted, or that's when you come to the council with a resolution to move funds around?
Exactly. So if we do find that especially if there's a shortage, let's say, for example, in the patrol activity, which we did last fiscal year, which we'll probably do again in the fourth quarter this fiscal year. You'll see us ask for a resolution to move monies from one activity to another activity to cover. That's where those monies are coming from.
I see. Okay, and then lastly, dealing with overtime, looks like it's about $40 million of overtime in the budget. Is that specifically budgeted? There's like a line item for overtime? I'm sure it's done by activity, but 40 million, is that accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty close, yes.
So that's holiday overtime and non-holiday overtime.
Yes. It's about 33 and then a little bit, about 12, so a little bit more than that, yeah.
Okay. This came up with I guess, Chief Ballard a few years ago. And I'm not sure if it's still the case. And I'm not sure what the level of staffing was, but I remember a conversation we had where whether it's 80%, 75%, or 70%, I think back then Chief Ballard had a guideline that if you go below, say, 70%, that's when you call in officers to do overtime. Do you have the same type of policy? And if so, is that at 70, 75, or 80, or any other number?
We do. So that number is 70% kind of across the board, and depending on which district you're in. So if you look at the different numbers based on the number of beats in each district, that number may be a little bit higher. So say, for example, if that number would be like 69 in one district just because of the number, then it would be, obviously, we're not going to leave it at 69. So it'd be one extra officer. So then in that particular district, it might be like 73.
I see.
Yeah.
And then the commander of each district, do they set that amount, the percentage, before they call in officers to do overtime? Like Waikiki, I would imagine is higher than, or Chinatown might be higher than other districts.
So while that number is a general number, that number isn't the number that we're striving for. That's the minimum number. That's not to say that, say, like on a Friday night, and you know that you're going to be busy. That doesn't mean that, okay, I'm only going to bring in 70%. I'm going to bring in 100%, or I'm going to bring in 90% because I know that officers are going to be super busy, or I may have 90% uniform patrol, but I'm also going to have my crew units. I'm also going to have my bike detail. I'm also going to have my, you know what I mean? So on paper or number of beats filled, I'm going to be at 80%. I'm going to be at 75 or whatever it is. But that doesn't reflect the total number of officers working. That's just the number of officers, number of beats I have filled.
I see. And I imagine it would fluctuate depending on external events, if there's, you know, the president in town or...
Yeah, most definitely. Or if I got a parade going on, or if I got something going on in Chinatown, or definitely if there's bad weather today, or even the day of the week, it'll vary.
Okay. I think that's all I have for now. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Waters. I had just a couple of follow-up questions, Chief Anik, before I ask the members if they have any second round. And I'm going to go slide by slide. Some of it you had touched upon. I was curious about page 5, and it was nice. It was a nice surprise to see that you have the uniform vacancies coming down. You have a net number. But I wanted to understand, you mentioned that they come from, you have the recruits currently in training, which is Fourth Watch or in the academy. Councilmember Tupolo talked about the police service officers, which is the cadets. So with these numbers that you have brought down from 448 to 279, how long will it take? How long does it take a recruit from day one of recruit training through the FTO and then Fourth Watch to pass the probationary period and then become a patrol officer, which is what the focus has been for years now, lowering that number?
Just very typically speaking, without getting into details, it typically takes about 18 months for an officer once they get hired and they start the academy to get into a permanent assignment. So.
Okay. And then the recruits currently in training, that number, the 152. So those ones, this is not, these ones will all stay. Would these possibly, if they're probation, or will they fall away or not pass a certain thing, or this is their set and they're in the department and we're just waiting to have them go into patrol? Is that correct?
So the 152, there is a small chance that some of those, a very small percentage, could potentially leave the department. Okay. But for the most part, what we're seeing is between a 5 to 10% attrition rate.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for clarifying. That was a nice number to see. I think we haven't seen anything under 400. So we have something to look forward to. I'd like to see updates on that, if these numbers actually come to fruition. I had another question on page 10, and I think another colleague, I think it might have been Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, mentioned, I was wondering about this miscellaneous. So it was the decline, and you did mention that for the revenue source, that was a projected, but it may go higher. I'm just trying to understand. So this is, from what I understand, it is sundry items. Is that correct? Or what is the source of revenue under miscellaneous?
Yeah, sorry, that's correct. So miscellaneous specifically is, falls under sundry. That's a majority of what it is. So sundry, vacation, accumulation deposits, even auction sale.
Okay.
So so basically sundry refunds are grant reimbursements, and those are based off of the timelines of when we receive the reimbursements. So if we receive a reimbursement outside of the fiscal year, then that money does not go back into our budget.
Okay.
It goes into the general fund. That's just the rules. So let's say, for example, I spend or I hold a DUI roadblock in April, and we pay the officers who are participating in that roadblock in the middle of May. I apply for, and then that's federal monies that comes out of our budget. So we pay the salary. We apply to get reimbursed, but we get reimbursed, say, July 15th. That's outside of the previous fiscal year.
Okay.
That money, so when we get reimbursed, doesn't go back to us, goes into the city general fund.
Okay. Yeah, that was the most notable decline in the revenue source. So this number, the 557,500 that you guys came up with, is that every year then this estimated amount is just substantially lower than the previous years that were collected? Is that
Yes,
common?
that's correct.
Okay.
So just because we don't know what
Based on the reporting
the
period.
estimated amount
Okay.
is, we estimate it low, and then when we get the actual amount, so you'll see next year when we do it, it's going to be obviously significantly or
Higher.
potentially
Okay.
significantly higher. And then when we estimate next year, it'll be again low, and then it'll raise again.
Okay.
So.
We'll look for that amount as well. Thank you. And then finally, my Pearl City Fire Station that has been mentioned. Thank you for putting it in here. The numbers that you stated today, they differ from what's in the report. Which is the most accurate? The CIP, page 55, the amounts that you have for every year, again, it varied because you mentioned about 40 million total, starting from 2030, 24 million, 10 million, and 13 million. But the numbers in the book are different. So which is the most accurate number to base it off of?
Yeah, so the 40 million was
Previous.
just the last, previous estimate.
And then
then
you
so our
mentioned these
6-year
numbers.
projection is what I had.
So these numbers are outdated. Is that correct?
I'm
Okay.
pretty positive that's
Okay.
correct, yeah.
Just want to clarify that. I'm going to put a plug because if I survive this year, 2032 is actually past my term. So I hope I get invited to the Pearl City groundbreaking and grand opening of the police station with my colleagues who are also sitting here that will benefit from it in their districts. Okay, thank you. That ends my line of questioning. Did we have any round 2 questions? Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to follow up on, again, this online permitting system. I recognize that we do need to do it based on a court, some kind of court order. The RFP notes that in Appendix F, the city anticipates a budget appropriation of $375,000 for the first year of the system, which includes the fully configured, accepted, and operated system, plus a subscription and maintenance and license fee for $375,000. Why are you asking for $1 million for this fiscal year?
So I'm being told that the low was 200,000, the high was 2 million. So we went in the middle of the road to make sure that we had enough when the proposals came in to fund it.
Okay, and then the RFP anticipates for all the out years a subscription and maintenance fee of $250,000. So we're on the hook from here on out for six figures or more each and every year for this system.
Sounds like it.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. Okay, I think seeing no further questions for Chief Vanek, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, HPD, for being here and for all that you do. We look forward to continue working with you. Members, as ocean safety is coming up, just wanted to give a brief announcement. After this department, we will be taking a 45-minute break for lunch, and I'll state the time at that point for our return. That being said, we would like to welcome the Department of Ocean Safety, and members, for your information, the presentation is available online as Departmental Communication 175-2026. And I believe joining us from OSD, we do have Chief Kurt Lager as well as Deputy Chief Jimmy Barros. Good morning, Chief Lager and Deputy Chief Barros.
Good morning, Chair and Council members. Thank you for having us here. My name is Kurt Lager. I'm the Chief of Ocean Safety. I just really quick want to introduce our team that's here and also thank them, Deputy Chief Jimmy Barros, the two Assistant Chiefs, Charles Oliveri and Adam Lerner, our Administrative Services Officer, Jonah Justiniano. They've been a huge help in preparing and going through our budget process for this fiscal year 27. I also want to give a shout out to BFS, and specifically Tate Roman, who's in the room, the budget analyst, who we worked very closely with in developing this budget and made it a very smooth process for us. With that, I'll get started. Looking from fiscal year 26 to 27, our salaries are going to go up just over $600,000 or 2.62%. Our current expenses, you'll see, are going to increase about 36%. Or about $786,000. Current expenses, I'll talk about on our next slide, some of our department priorities that we're working on. In our equipment, you're gonna see a decrease of about $1.2 million. The reason you're seeing a large decrease in there is this, for two reasons. One, this fiscal year, we're not purchasing any lifeguard towers. Lifeguard towers are a large ticket item for us, and so we are not purchasing lifeguard towers. That's about $1 million from last year's budget. We're also implementing this year and starting our life cycle management plan, where we're going to be responsibly ordering and purchasing equipment over the next coming fiscal years in a responsible way. So that gives us a total increase in our operating budget of about $157,000 or about 0.5% from last year. Our priorities this year, there's three that I'd like to highlight. First is Watchtower. This is our digital log sheet and incident reporting system. We have, for the last year, we have been using the system at Hanauma Bay. We just went live this past Sunday with all of our mobile responders. So all the supervisors and rescue operators that are in vehicles around the island are now using Watchtower as of today. And we have plans to roll out the rest of the island, all the rest of the lifeguard towers here in the coming months. So this money will help us finish this expansion to purchase the tablets. Each tablet costs about $567 a piece, which is a one-time cost. And then we have to pay a monthly data fee, which runs about $37 a tablet. And then the platform, which is called Watchtower, it's a nationally used platform by ocean life-saving agencies around the country. And it's about $80,000 a year is what we're budgeting for this. Also, a priority for our department is public messaging and safety messaging. And so last year, thank you, Chair Waters, was a council ad. We're happy to say that we have this in our budget this year so that we can continue to reach out, get important messaging to the public out there on hazards that exist in the ocean, as well as education to the youth on learn to swim programs that are out there and just general water safety. Another priority that's not listed on this slide also is we are purchasing some portable radios that we need to replace some of our aging portable radios. Our current vacancies as the February 1st snapshot were 29. We're still at 29 today. Of those 29, 16 of them make up water safety officers. Majority of that being water safety officer 1 and 2s, who are our lifeguards that work on the beaches. We do have a few supervisory positions that are vacant. We are looking to fill majority of those positions this fiscal year. We've already completed interviews for majority of those positions as well, and so we should be filling those. We do have a couple administrative positions that we're working on filling, and then also within that 29, we do have some positions yet to be created, water safety officers, in the supervisory roles for logistics and rescue, as well as some just frontline water safety officers. So our overall goal is to have majority filled before the end of the fiscal year, but for sure by the end of the calendar year. Looking at our overtime, department overtime, we have non-holiday overtime budgeted in the general fund of $800,000. This is typically used for response for incidents that are outside our normal operating hours that may happen at the end of the day, as well as to maintain staffing in our towers and our operations due to shortages from various different reasons. And then holiday overtime, $750,000 in the general fund. Lifeguards work 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and per collective bargaining, each of them is entitled to their holiday pay. So that is to compensate for that. And then you also see that we have a much smaller staff, but the other fund is for the lifeguards that work at Hanauma Bay. Our capital budget, we have 2 projects right now. The first project is for various ocean safety stations. This is for improvements and basically improvements to our various stations. We did a review of our current status with all our substations, and so we put money in there to address those type of needs. And then our other project is for the Waianae substation, which is an old building, and we are going to build a new substation on our Waianae coast on the same property that we're next to where the current substation is. And with that, I will be happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Lager. We'll start our questions with Councilmember Tupola.
Hey, aloha, Chief, and aloha to your team. Thanks for being here. Briefly, I have a few questions. I'm so excited to see how far Ocean Safety Department has come. I'm excited about the commission working with you guys, and of course, congratulations to you on being the official chief. I guess my first question or comment about the Waianae substation is that in DDC, they do also have some monies for a gate and to kind of help pave that entrance area. Says it was supposed to be encumbered or done this year. Do you have any updates on that? If not, I can ask DDC.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that if that's okay.
Yeah, I do think that for our office, we have been concerned about that because the access right by the fire station all the way down to where we're going to improve needs to have more security. So glad we're on the same page with that. I was able to talk with Joint Base Pearl Harbor about you guys doing possibly a junior lifeguard class at White Plains. They said we don't need an MOU. So they said they're willing to work with you guys on a week. So I'll coordinate that if you guys want to have your junior lifeguard class there.
That is fantastic news. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm all about adding new spots for you guys, you know, west side, best side. So thank you for all the work that you guys do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Tupola. Councilmember Kia Aina.
Thank you. I wanted to just echo how far you guys have come. You know, the neighborhood boards, they actually look forward to your guys' reports. I think they're a little shocked about the data. You guys are not shocked, but I think the residents are a little shocked.
Yeah, some of the numbers are alarming.
Yeah. And then I think they're just looking, it's kind of interesting. All of a sudden they're looking at all of you guys differently. Like, oh my God, is this what you guys do on a day? It's not easy work, you know, to go save people.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, most people look at lifeguards just sitting in a lifeguard tower, you know, enjoying their day, but we do, and most of it is preventative in nature.
Yeah, it's preventative. So I see a lot of drop jaws. I just want to let you guys know what the reaction has been. And I think a reappreciation of what you guys do. Of course, just want to get an update, latest from the ocean safety staffer for Kailua, a young man, mentioned July as the completion date for the Kailua. Is it, you call it a substation or operations hub? What do you call it?
That will be a windward operations hub or facility. I'm not exactly sure what we'll call it yet.
Yes. Is July the completion date?
The latest that I saw was early September is for a project completion, but we're hoping to occupy the building sooner if possible.
Got it. And no more pilikia, right? No more pilikia impeding it?
No.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, take care.
Thank you, Councilmember Kia Aina, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. Mahalo, Chief. Just kind of going off of that, because I know we've had different updates, but could you maybe lay out where we stand right now in terms of the timeline for the towers rolling out, and then also maybe the rescue adjustment in terms of timing and expansion?
Yes, thank you for asking that. I forgot to mention it during my presentation. We do have lifeguard towers in our headquarters lot right now that are going to go out to all the different districts. They're all replacements except one, and we are happy to announce that we're scheduled for March 27th to put a new lifeguard tower at Sharks Cove, where we currently have lifeguards only sitting in a truck watching the water, so we will have a new tower then. We are continuing with our rescue operations. As is right now, we are planning for another rescue operator class this year and making plans on potential expansion in the future.
Okay, appreciate that. March 27th, that's just around the corner. And yeah, I want to echo that and mahalo you and your entire team for just taking the lead in this historic time, you know, as the department gets stood up and solidified. And so really grateful for your leadership and collaborative work with the commission, as well as the community. So thank you. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Wire. Councilmember Toba.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Nishimoto.
Thank you. Just one question. I know.
We welcome questions here, members.
I try to limit mine, but I have a burning one, okay? In your budget highlights, you talk about 870,000 in salary ads, correct? I think it was up there too.
Yeah.
But when I look through your tables, I was only able to find 634,000. Am I missing something?
I think that I said 634,300.
Okay, but in your budget highlights, it says 870 has been added to departmental salaries to support Dawn to Dusk initiative. Is that something different?
I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I don't have an answer right now.
If you can just email me, that'd be great.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Nishimoto. Councilmember Cordero.
I know I stand between us and lunch, but so I just want to mahalo the Department of Ocean Safety for everything, especially the risk reduction and prevention that you've mentioned. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Chief Lager, just really quick questions. Thank you for meeting with my team and I. I wanted to just go back really quickly. You have the page here on the ocean safety issues, your budget issues. Just to clarify, because we did talk about your new endeavor to have things modernized in the towers and the iPads coming. So these issues, just to be clear, these are things that you're asking for but were not placed into the budget, or they were appropriated?
These are all placed in the budget.
They are placed in the budget, okay.
We will be doing it, yeah.
Okay, I want to be sure, okay, that you were not having that negligent. Okay, I think that was it then. I'm just going to put a plug, I guess, because I don't live in the coastal areas. I live in the center of the island. You guys never come to my neighborhood board, so I guess I have to go to Councilmember Kiana's or Wires districts to see you guys. But thank you for all that you're doing. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, any second round questions before we go on? Okay, members, seeing no other second round questions, we will recess right now at 11:58. At 12:45, we will reconvene and we will start back up with the Department of Parks and Recreation. Recess.